Yeah, back in the field, the track stars Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. This episode is sponsored by Flavor Fest, y'all. Flavor Fest, November 6th through the 9th, we're going to be in the building. Shout out to our beat battle judges. We got Plain James judging the beat battle. We got Rodney Darkchild Jerkins judging the beat battle. And this is how we do it, Montel Jordan judging the beat battle. So this is going to be big. This is where you want to bring your A game, and you want to make sure that if you're coming to Tampa, that you're fully loaded and ready to compete. Because, again, you're being judged by the best, one of the best, I would say.
Yep.
And so we're excited about that. So go to flavorfest.org and get your tickets. Find out if this is something that you want to be a part of, and meet us down in Tampa. Also, man, I want to shout out to Sean. Y'all make sure y'all keep praying for him. He is still down, but he has been such a big support of the show. Behind the scenes, y'all, he has been doing engineering work all week. He has been doing production work all day this morning. So y'all keep praying for our brother, and we will make sure that we let him know how much he's missed and loved by, just the comments in the chat alone. And also today we have guest host. We have Aaliyah Reynolds from season 5 of Love Is Blind. You might recognize her from that, and she also has the Pure Talks podcast. So we're going to talk to her a little bit at the end to find out a little bit more about her and what she's got going on. How you guys doing today?
All is well, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been such a week, y'all. Yesterday my laptop crashed. I lost everything. So I got to get another laptop, but all my independent artist spotlights and all of my Righteous by Design mock-ups and everything. I'm talking about everything from Becoming Eva podcast. Everything is gone. So I gotta rebuild tonight. So
So what happened to it? What was it? Did it just crash?
I was in the middle of work,
gotcha.
and I was typing, and it just went black and never came back. Battery was fine, everything. I was writing up a proposal for work, and then all of a sudden it just done.
What kind of computer was it?
HP. Yeah,
HP.
I might got something for you.
Oh, cool. Well, let's talk about it, because I was on my way to Best Buy after work.
That's funny.
But you guys had good weeks?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kingdom Ox. We passed 511.
Oh, wow. 500
511
subscribers.
Yeah, starting that.
Yeah.
And God doing some stuff with that. Man.
Yeah, I've been trying to explain to people, like, we're building different channels for the different brands and the different segments that we are a part of. The Independent Artist Spotlight, the Kingdom Ox, Iron Sharpens Iron, Creative CEO, like all these different brands and channels are popping up. So be patient with us as we rebuild those, because I mean we figured out Track Stars. We'll figure that out too.
Yeah, and shout out to Plain, man, with Trap Theology. I saw something where he got a nice background and everything. You know,
man, it's
Trap
dope.
Theology coming.
It's
so,
fire. It's fire. And then also my Plain James Independent Artist Spotlight is out right now, so y'all can go check that out. Show some love. He shares some really cool insights on industry and the different things you want to avoid if you're not looking to get trapped by the world.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a great week too. So
Good.
I was one of my friends from over the pond came over, Nikki.
Over the pond.
You got to talk like that.
I don't know why. I've been speaking in this random accent all week, but she is the founder of Bounce Black. So she actually comes often and does events in like New York and DC and things like that. Trying to get her to do one here in Atlanta, but I was able to tag along with her to Forbes Black. So the summit was here in Atlanta this week, and it was super dope being in the room with just such professional, brilliant Black minds,
Good.
and C-level sweet people that are willing to literally pass game down to us. Yeah. And there were so many wonderful takeaways, but I thought it would be cool to, share some of the ones that, they gave us. Stephen Smith said something really powerful, and he was like, you're not Stephen Smith. He said some really great stuff too. But one thing that I like that they all pretty much said is we need community. Yeah. Like you can get somewhere fast with one person, but if you want to maintain and be sustainable, we need to pay attention to horizontal connections.
Yeah.
So make sure you're developing community, getting to know people around you. See?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or whatever, building up, understanding that you are Black. That's beautiful, the resilience of our people. But you're not just Black, you're green.
Yeah.
And money is green, and understanding, don't be limited or mentally thinking, because I'm Black when I step into a room. No, I'm the answer to somebody's problem.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And they were saying, like, run to problems. And from there, find a solution, be the solution, create a business based off that, figure out how to answer and then use AI to make it faster. So one of the guys too, I can't remember his name. It was like Van. So many moguls. But one of them as well, he was like, he thinks that AI is going to be the best or the closest thing to reparations for Black people. Because he said this is the first time that we're all equal. All races, all cultures alike. None of us fully understand AI. So he was like, as far as Black people, so the whole summit was like them encouraging every facet, every industry. How can we implement AI and use AI into our businesses to become the forerunners?
Sure.
Because as our people are resilient, we can take nothing and turn it into everything.
Yeah.
And he was saying, honestly, right now, white men are the minority, but they're getting most of the funding, all these different things. But they can't drive our GDP alone. They literally need us. So it's like understanding that we are in a powerful position, understanding if we want to be consumers or producers, pray into that, look into that, run to the problems, be a solution, and let's hit the ground running.
Amen. I like that.
So super inspiring.
So you could start a conference.
Hey, let's do it.
Conference, yeah.
You got the blueprint.
Hey, listen.
All right, cool. So this first reaction that we're going to get to is Candace Owens, man. She said Charlie Kirk came to her in a dream. Let's talk about it.
I believe people can communicate in dreams on their way in and on their way out of this world. I similarly, like I just said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that, but I do believe that. And it was the immediate sense I got, actually. And I don't know who exactly it is that betrayed him, but I also felt in the dream that it is soon going to be revealed, that it's actually inevitable that it is going to be revealed, that there is nothing and no one that is going to stop the truth from coming out, and it is going to have international consequences. Take that to the bank. Quote me on that. Women tend to have a stronger intuition about people.
All right. So when I was watching that clip, man, I was sitting there like, some things that I just don't know if I would always want to react to if I was an influencer. That's definitely one of them. That's definitely one of them. Like, I think if I was an influencer like Candace Owens and, you know, I had a personal relationship with Charlie or whatever, I feel like hearing about the death would have been like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry to hear that. All right, now let me move on. I don't think I would be digging to figure out like who all was involved, what happened. It just seems like it's just content for her. I could be wrong about that, but I don't have much to say about it. What do y'all think about it?
Well, I don't know, James. I don't know about it just being content for her, because that was her friend and she's really passionate about it. And I admire her passion. She's a journalist. I'm a journalist. I understand that drive. It's a passion project for her at this point. She want to know who killed her friend. She got a righteous indignation. She's upset, and I get it. Do that. But at the same time, I think that we need to be very careful because when it comes to deliverance, bring that thing up, obsession can lead to oppression and possession. Now, we know when it comes to possession and oppression, that's going to vary whether you're a believer or not, whatever. But when you start to obsess over something, that opens the door and is back door for now you got familiar spirits coming to talk to you. Because we know loved ones, ancestors, all these things, they are not visiting you in your dreams. But because you're so obsessed with this thing and you're so passionate about it, you got to make sure that there's a fine line, because now you open yourself up to the back door of the enemy to come in and take advantage of you. And now you're believing, oh my God, Charlie is giving me advice. He's telling me this. He's leading me through. And that could literally be demon spirits trying to mess with you and encourage you to your demise or the wrong way. So that's the only thing I would say. As believers, we don't need anything spiritual to speak to us outside of the voice of God. And whatever the voice of God is going to say to you is always going to be confirmed in his word. Even if it's not a literal scripture that says X, Y, Z, it's going to have the spirit of God. It's going to have to align with the mind of God. And you're going to be able to, what do they say, like scripture, like pretty much bounces off each other. It's not going to be one verse that confirms it. Amen. You're going to have several verses.
Systematic theology.
There we go. That's going to affirm what's happening here.
I agree 100%. That wasn't Charlie coming talking to you, man.
Definitely.
I just think when you are very emotionally attached to a situation, it's constantly on your mind. Like you said, I don't know if she's obsessed or not, but she's very passionate about it. You go to sleep with it on your mind.
Right.
You're thinking about it all day long. It's like when you sleep, I mean, your subconscious is still gonna be in your mind, and you're thinking that you probably really strongly feel like he was betrayed by somebody, and that's the thought in your mind. So if you think about it hard enough in your dreams and your thoughts,
Yeah.
you'll start seeing those type of things.
That cognitive bias.
Yeah, but if somebody show up talking to you, I guarantee you that wasn't Charlie. You know what I'm saying? That was a demon. You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't
Right.
And you know, and when God comes and gives us dreams and visions and things of that nature, it's a tone when He comes that you know, okay, that was the Lord. Because usually it's challenging you in the area that either you need to improve in, or it's something that you probably don't want to do, but you know the Lord is unctioning you to do it. Like when you look at dreams in the Bible, when Gabriel came to Joseph and all this stuff happened in the middle of the night, he came to him pretty much telling him like, hey, don't put that woman away. Like she really pregnant. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff that's challenging you. It's not going to affirm your emotions or your feelings like that unless it's along with His will. This situation right here don't have nothing to do. I mean, obviously, you know, it was an untimely demise what happened to him, and nobody should be killed like that. And so I understand that's your friend. You're gonna be passionate, but don't let your emotions get the best of you. And she's a pretty intelligent woman, you know. So, but anybody can have a moment of weakness and vulnerability to the point where you just start believing stuff that's not necessarily true.
I watched a little bit more of that clip, and you know, she was talking about the text messages from the shooter and his
Father.
no, the relationship,
With the
partner.
boyfriend.
Yeah, it was she thinks that's conspiracy. She thinks that Charlie had somebody on his team that was set him up. And then she started saying this like day one after the shooting. So I was like, man, how do we even get to that point day after the shooting that this is a conspiracy, somebody set it up? I mean, we got there with the whole Trump situation when his ear was grazed.
Yeah.
But I mean, that kind of made sense because there was like, okay, this is Secret Service, this is, open space, this is a guy laying on the roof, this is people who have pointed out there's somebody on the roof to multiple law enforcement agencies. So now you're at this point where you're like, okay, this maybe there's something here, let's chase this down.
Yeah.
But the Charlie situation, I felt like it happened so fast. Like the conspiracy theories came out immediately, and I just didn't know what to think about it. I was like, well, to me, it just felt like it was open and shut, but I guess not, because I mean, there's more to it apparently for her.
Yeah, it ain't open and shut because the different things that I'm not following it like that, but the things that I have seen, like people have taken over because even like the gun that was used, the bullet that was used, they're like, if this stuff happened the way y'all said it happened, it wouldn't have happened this way. Like his head would have literally been severed in front of everyone. So like, they're like, y'all lying. So I get what she's saying. Plus, as his friend, she had more knowledge about things than we do, as far as like the him being courted by Israel and him turning them down because he was doing his own research and things weren't added up. Then he started pushing the Epstein files, dead within a month. I was like, wee. So push back on Israel and the Epstein files. And then ironically, I believe the day that he was assassinated and murdered, that they closed it. Like Senate closed it. And now they're not going to release the Epstein files. So I was like, interesting.
Yeah. For me, it didn't add up, but I'm kind of on the same wave as you. Like, how did we jump to that conclusion so quickly that it was a conspiracy? But I mean, the facts that were being presented to the public it didn't add up to me either. I was like, something's missing. How... they had a story so quick to give to us that it just felt like it was already written. Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to be like into social media in order for you to like chase that down. I'm not. I get, what information comes across my phone from time to time. Some things I take serious, some things I'm like, okay, I know that's just whatever. But yeah, it seems like she's taking this to heart. I personally don't want to chase this down because of the energy that it seems like it's gonna take to, start like piecing it together. Like I'll say this, I do think I was a little bit more involved with the Trump shooting than I wanted to be because I kept saying like, hey man, wait a minute, why are people saying this? Where they're saying, oh, this is the ladder, and we covered it multiple weeks on the show. So they're saying,
was
the ladder
frustrated.
was across the
You was
the ladder.
frustrated.
What?
You was
I don't know what
frustrated.
that means. The ladder was leaning up
It
against
wasn't
the
a clear shot, you
building.
was
The ladder,
frustrated, it
no,
wasn't
the
a clear
ladder
shot.
was leaning up against the
Oh,
building.
no.
So all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it was
You
just.
too, Jerry. I don't know why you said.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, now,
Jerry,
Jerry,
How'd I get in this?
Yeah, throw me in
How'd I get
there.
in this?
whenever stuff like this happens, the first thing I do is I look to the military on our team, ex-military, active military.
Yeah,
Like, what's
we got-
going on?
We got a
'Cause-
few military people. on
Yeah,
our team.
because Mike Sarge always kind of, has an idea of what
Yeah.
he sees happening, man. So it's interesting. This next conversation is it's the Perrys, and Jackie Hill Perry was going up against Allie. So let's see about that conversation.
One of the things that grieved me was seeing so many believers who appreciated Charlie not being able to understand why we might not be as impacted over his death in the same way that you are.
Why don't you think he's a martyr? And it's like because I heard what he said.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I don't appreciate his stances on abortion, on sexuality, on marriage,
Yes.
but it's also I hear other things alongside that don't give martyr.
He says so many fundamental Christian things that I align with. But what I want people to understand is, like, I think sometimes Christian nationalism, not sometimes, most of the times, is so dangerous because it doesn't give people the ability to actually understand what we go through as Black people.
Okay, so he didn't give martyr in some of the things he said. Yes, Charlie is going to seem to some people harsh because of how unwaveringly clear he was when it comes to things like abortion. Was Charlie a martyr? She says that other things that he said didn't give martyr. And I take issue with how that is phrased because that's such a flippant way to be talking about the assassination of a brother in Christ. But here is the first question I would ask, and that is, what other things? What specifically? Like, give me the details. If we're talking about whether a brother was martyred or not, I want to know specifically what were the things that he said that weren't quote unquote giving martyr. Is a martyr someone who only says things we agree with? Is a martyr someone who never says things that are offensive? Is a martyr someone that has to be perfect and totally sinless? Is that how we define martyr? Because it seems to me from that conversation that is how they're defining it. Charlie Kirk said things that they don't agree with. I'm still not exactly sure what, or that maybe they deemed offensive or deemed unchristlike, and so he wasn't a martyr.
Yeah. Question to this group: was he a martyr? I don't think so either.
I agree with Jackie.
I don't think so.
I agree with Jackie.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, I agree with Jackie. So it's a lot of clips that go around online, and many people have come out and said, "Oh, we've taken these clips out of context." Right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of clips they're saying we're taking out of context. Let's just say, for instance, we
Come
are
on.
taking them out of context.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Let's just say, for instance, we're taking them out of context. All 100 clips, we taking all of them
Right.
out of context. All right.
Yeah.
As a Christian, as a believer, when we come on this show, we try to make sure that we share ideas and principles. Probably more so y'all than me. I got to work on it. But we try to share ideas and principles in a way that are going to connect with people, not in an offensive way, but in a way where they can receive it, because the Bible does say a brother or sister offended is hard to win. If you know the way that you're communicating is seeming to offend a certain group of people more often than not, and you are a brother in Christ and you care about those people, shouldn't you take enough consideration in your speech to say, hey, let me try to say this in a way where I can better get my point across instead of offending people every time I say something?
Yeah.
So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And once again, I'm learning that lesson, but I try to be as much as possible considerate when I can. I drop the ball. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but when you have so many clips online that are quote unquote misinterpreted, you know, it's like, and it's kind of painting a certain kind of picture. You can't really be mad at people when they really don't understand what you're saying, because it's like, at least consider me, at least consider my feelings, at least try to understand how we feel about this, at least take in consideration what people have gone through before you form your conclusions. Like, you want to look at statistics and numbers and all that kind of stuff. That don't always tell the tale, because it's a lot of underlying factors that contribute to those statistics and those numbers that
Very
you're
true.
not discussing.
Very
See what
true.
I'm saying?
Amen.
So that's my thing. If you're not racist, you're just lacking consideration. So for me, I don't necessarily see martyr. Like I said, I hate for anybody to lose their life like that, especially in front of their family. I'm not celebrating it. I'm not happy. None of that. But I'm not gonna be fake either. You know what I'm saying? To act like I'm just like he's just he's just standing on the wall for freedom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I just don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would say, this. We're gonna get some controversy. So, I would say that I feel like he died for conservatism. I feel like, and the reason I say that is because, and was he a Christian? Absolutely. I believe he was a man of faith. Sure. I believe he was. But I believe that when I watch his content, right, there's another guy I'm gonna compare him to. Is a gentleman named Cliff. I can't remember his last name. Cliff does the exact same thing, and y'all probably saw him, older white man. Yeah. So he gets on campuses and he debates people, or he talks to people about Jesus in the Bible.
Yeah.
Right? And his point of view is, I'm trying to get you to get to know who Jesus is. Let me hear your worldview. You got a question. I'm going to answer you about Jesus in the Bible, whatever you like talking about the word and everything. When I look at Charlie's stuff, if the Bible comes up, it comes up. I don't feel like that's the main focus. I always felt like it was more like it's about conservatism. And I'm saying that as somebody, I consider myself a conservacrat. Certain things I learned, certain ways I understand the Democrats when it comes to oppression and helping injustice. But when it comes to like righteousness and like that's more conservative. I have that on that time. So the reason why I'm saying that is because when I watch his clips, it's not like he's leading with the gospel.
Right.
It's not like he's leading with, hey, you need to know Jesus. I watch a lot of street preachers. I watch a lot of follow street preachers who come up to people and they have conversations about Jesus. Yeah. They don't care if you liberal or conservative. Yeah. They just want to know where you going when you die. And to me, I think that was the second or third thing from Charlie. I think the first thing Charlie was focused on was like, let me disprove what you believe about what you believe when it comes to politics.
Right.
And that's just what I'm just looking at from the clips. That's what I'm saying. Now, did he have clips where people came up to him and talked about God? Of course. Yeah. He talked about it and he displayed his faith wonderfully. But I don't think that was the main focus. The main focus always looked like, based off the clips, and we talking about clips, based off the clips, the main focus always looked like,
prove you wrong.
Let me talk to you about why you think the Republicans are wrong and or whoever's wrong, then you know what I'm saying? Like that. So I'm not saying that he didn't love God. I'm not saying he wasn't a Christian. I'm just saying I kind of agree with him. I agree with him on some stuff and some of the stuff that he said that was kind of like, as a Christian, you wouldn't be like, I don't want to offend my other brothers and sisters in Christ if they feel a certain way about that, regardless of their race and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I felt. When he was alive, I watched some of his clips because, of course, we covered him on the show. But I always got off of him whenever he started giving like brash, harsh delivery. And I was just like, man, this is not the heart of Christ. Yeah. And the audience obviously isn't accepting it that way or isn't seeing it that way. But then you have the conservatives that are rah, rah, rah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times he would debate other Christians. Yeah. And it's like when you have that type of situation, man, deliver that conversation in love. Right? But don't just be so quick to shut him down. I was watching him debate a young black guy. Yeah, and it was just like he just kept hammering him down like, what you do? And then the look and the tone, all of that was just like, man, this is not going to be, this is not fruitful for anybody.
Yeah, but also I think at the same time it's like, you know, you got to understand what their point of view. You know what I'm saying? As somebody's point of view is like, if we can agree to something, then like I would say what he was good at. He was good at saying, okay, can we agree on this? Yeah, okay. So then he'll follow up a question and stuff like that. I don't know people in our comments saying different things, but I just feel like as I watch his YouTube channel, I'm not saying clips on IG or TikTok. I'm talking about like his YouTube channel. When you go to his YouTube channel, the main focus was about going on college campuses and talking to kids about what they think about the country. If the gospel came up, amen. But it wasn't the main, like it didn't look like his main focus. Like I watch street preachers, when they preach the gospel to people, I could tell their focus is to get somebody saved so they can not be eternally lost. It didn't feel like that. It felt like
a political figure.
Yeah, it felt like he was his policies. And I understand people who may see this and be like, but you as a Christian, you gotta be conservative, or a Christian, you gotta be this way because it's the Bible and everything. I get it, I understand it, but what I'm saying is the stuff I've seen, and I'm not talking about like little 1 minute clips, 2 minute clips. I'm talking about watching his whole thing. Majority of his whole thing was where people would come up and talk about liberalism and he'll debate that, or talk about what's going on in a community or a city or whatever. He'll debate that racist stuff. He would talk about those things. Those were his points first, and then the gospel. If somebody came up talked about Jesus, it was like, okay, let's talk about Jesus.
People keep saying in the comments talking about how did anybody in the Bible offend somebody? So like,
well, John the Baptist,
absolutely,
John the Baptist, like when Jesus came
offended.
and he changed the order of the day, he did offend people, but it's about the posture of your heart when you're delivering the message. And I don't know the heart of man. All I can say is how it came across. Like there's some historians that were right that when Jesus, even when he rebuked the Pharisees, it was with tears in his eyes. Because I doubt Jesus would just smile and just arrogant and prideful and just like, hey, you're going to burn in hell if you don't turn. I'm pretty sure he knows more than anybody what hell consists of. And he don't want nobody to be there. The Bible says it's God's desire that all will be saved. So he don't want anybody to suffer eternal damnation. So I'm pretty sure he's coming to you like pleading with you like, hey, like tighten up. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at what Charlie Kirk was doing, sometimes it came across a little arrogant. It came across a little prideful. It's not a sharp tone saying stuff. I'm sharp sometimes, like a sharp tone and stuff like that. Yeah, and even with that, like I said, I have to work on that to a certain degree. But when you have consistent content to where people are always offended every time you say something, you can't hide that behind the guise of did people get offended in the Bible when people spoke the truth. If you're talking about a prophet who came and said, hey, get right or get left, like this was God giving these people direct orders to tell these people exactly what they said. So much so that many of these prophets didn't even want to go to the people and say what God told them to say.
Sure.
They were just on assignment. It was times when God told Isaiah, go tell the people this. They're not going to listen to you, but go tell them anyway. He had to run Jonah down to go down here and talk to these folks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it wasn't a thing where they just came across like they enjoyed doing this. It was like they were on assignment. And Charlie, some folks may feel like he was on assignment, and maybe he was. I just feel like it was a lack of compassion sometimes in the way he communicated if he wasn't racist.
Well, I definitely have some thoughts. Which I'll preface. Do I believe he was a martyr? Yeah, I think he was.
Martyr for what, though?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
But because I don't want to lose my train of thought, because I think the comparison here, I think there's some fundamental differences between an evangelist and a politician. So Cliff is an evangelist. Street preachers are evangelists. So it's not on their heart to speak about politics. So they may not, But as far as Charlie Kirk, he is a politician, and he's also like filtering his perspective. He's grounded and founded in the word, and he's trying to walk that out. So I feel like walking each of those out is gonna look different. So just to throw that out there. And then what I can say too, because I get what you mean about like, you see in these clips, this is always this, that. I honestly feel like if Jesus was alive today in time, he would also have the same issue of always offending people, because truth is going to offend people, period.
Yeah, I get that.
And I think that Charlie was still cooking. I don't think he arrived. I think the Lord was still working on him. So I don't have, not to say you guys do, but when it comes to people and God really showing me his heart for people, I have a little bit more grace, because I'm understanding that God is still cooking us all. And then some people are literally like, you get to cook in the privacy of your home and your life. And then when you come to the show, we're public for what, 2-3 hours or whatever. But there's some people like PKs that their life is always on display. Every time they make a mistake, like they're literally getting cooked while God is actively using them. So for that, when I watch him, I do have some type of grace for that. It's like you're still growing, you're still learning. The guy was young, like you're very young. You still have a lot to learn. But even at the same time, or whatever, we understand how hard it could be to try to talk about all of these topics and get everything out and try to explain it in the 15 minutes, if not less, than we can. And then even then, somebody can still clip it up and chop it up in 10 to 15 seconds, especially if their heart is to spew division. So I have seen clips, so I was like, hold up, what up, whoa there. And then I've seen, Black people bring content and do the full clip and explain it. I was like, okay, I see where that came from. Did I see things where I was like, well, you could have worded that better? You could have worded that better. I do get that, but I understand even when he came back to defend some of his stuff that went viral, that went a completely opposite way of what he intended. Seeing that compassion on that, and then it was on his platform. So, of course, he had more time to talk about it. So it was like, okay. So I feel like his heart was there, but he's a flawed individual that was still being cooked. And I give him that. And like I said, I grew up in Miami, Florida, predominantly black, and then was moved to Mount Juliet, Tennessee, that was predominantly white. So I have more insight and understanding to where it's like they can mean well, but sometimes just be ignorant in different ways. And it's not even like it's honest ignorance. They love you, but it's just like, okay, the lack of awareness can be there at times. But I'm just going to give you grace in that. But I will say different things that he did say, which I'm going to throw you out there, Ryan, where you was like, you didn't like the fact that he was white talking about black issues. But I felt like the things that he was saying and the statistics that he was saying, he wasn't the first one to say it. A lot of black people say it. And better are the wounding of a friend than the kisses of a foe. So it's like, as long as you're not weaponizing truth and he said the truth. The reason why the black community is where it is because we left God and God is no longer the center of where we are. He ain't the first one to say that. He ain't gonna be the last.
Well, that's not what he was talking about when I referenced the conversation he was having. The conversation he was having with the statist.
No,
The conversation. Somebody slide her a mic. She about to burst.
the black community, not just black church, because obviously God is still the center of the black church. But as far as the black community as a whole,
Nah.
you don't think Christ is at the center anymore?
You think? Hold on, I'm getting lost in my own thoughts too. So my thing is this, right? He talked about the statistics that have come from the result of slavery.
Right.
And so, in my opinion, I'm like, okay, this is a topic you don't need to touch because, again, like James said, or I think Chris said, Jeremiah said it. It's things that led up to these statistics. James said it.
Right.
Things that led up to these statistics that you don't really know about.
Right.
And you're not able to talk about because it's still very offensive to us.
Especially with a lack of compassion and understanding.
Lack of compassion, but then also don't talk to us about the black fathers being out of the house when the black fathers were pulled away from the plantations where they were raising their kids.
Right.
So there is a pattern of the behavior that goes from generation to generation, and unfortunately, we still have it. Are we trying to correct it? Yes, but I still don't think that a white man is capable of going out and telling a bunch of black kids why there are problems in their community. Like, James talks about it all the time. The crack epidemic dropped into communities. Guns, Russian machine guns. Talk about James, because
you see Ronald Reagan in the 80s with Gucci belts on and all this kind of stuff. The same time dope got dropped off in our communities in the 80s. Yeah. I don't know where to buy no Russian machine gun, no AK, no 223 yet. If I'm growing up in the neighborhood, we poverty stricken. Where the guns come from? You know what I'm saying? So you drop it down, but then you say it's a war on drugs. So what happens is you put us there because you know we're struggling to survive, but then you lock us up with the same stuff that you put down in our communities in the first place. And now you want to bring out your statistics and talk about how we killing each other and murdering each other when you're the one who put the stuff in our neighborhood in the first place to make us destroy one another.
Right.
It's Willie Lynch.
Yeah.
It's Willie Lynch. Yeah. So it's like when you come out, you give me a whole bunch of numbers and statistics, but you don't give me valid facts on how this stuff happened. Even when we talk about church, why is there a black church? It's not a black church because we chose to separate ourselves. It's y'all segregated us until we couldn't come to church with y'all. So we had to keep worshiping God. And we were black people. We were together. So it was a church of what? Black people. So it's a black church. You know what I'm saying? Not by choice. It's because we had to show some kind of fortitude to come together because we were being oppressed and taken out as a people. So it's like you can come and say all this stuff, but then you come and say, I don't want black culture in my church. Well, you pushed it out in the first place.
Okay,
you know
so those are two different people, so let's not blend that all together. But what I will say as well, all of this is valid. I know all of these facts. I understand all of these facts. I was out there marching as well, so I get it. But what I did appreciate is let's start the conversations of, I understand all of these things are true and we're a thing, but what are we going to do about it now? So I was very appreciative that these conversations are starting to be had because we need to talk about what are we going to do now. I understand they dropped off the guns and gave it to us in the 80s. They took advantage of our black leaders being killed and murdered. I understand all of those things, but what are we going to do about it now? What are we actively doing about this now?
We need to elect somebody who cares.
Well, wait.
But the fact that a white man is talking about it, I think shows that it cares.
But who is we? That's my question, because you're talking about a white man talking about it, but is he actively contributing to the work
Yes.
of helping the community.
Yes.
How so? Because I haven't heard these things.
No, I haven't heard it either.
He created Blexit, which he gets the brilliant black minds from
Okay.
each state together to talk about how we can help the black community and move the black community forward.
And
To
they're
me-
actively
Yes.
work.
It's
Well, that's
the black
wonderful,
version of
but
Turning Point.
I've not heard of these things.
Let's go.
I
Let's go
also
to,
have
Across a ton of them.
let's go
That's
to
why I
Old
was like,
National
why
right
are
now.
they saying this
Let's go-
guy is racist when he's literally putting his money and putting his energy towards things that will help the black community? So that's why I was like, I'm confused.
but just because you put money towards something, don't mean you
Yeah.
can come out and disrespect me either.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put your
I
money
don't think
to,
the intention was to disrespect.
And there's also a pandering.
I don't think the intention, and I don't think it's pandering either, because there's a lot of things he could do with his time than care about the black community. There's a lot of things he could be doing.
If it's derogatory, if it is not speaking to the issues, there's a lacking there. Even if you're putting money into a place, if you're not speaking in as James said in a compassionate way, if you're not also connecting to people who have the heart of and the pulse of why the problem is the way it is, because there is this a savior complex can have people doing stuff but not being humble in their assistance and in their help. So I'm not sure all of the elements and aspects and the heartbeat behind this particular effort. I hope that it was beneficial to the people that were operating in it. But there is a way to help that isn't the most productive, right? So that's why I think it's important to have a pulse on these things. And if you're talking from a place that is not from a place of humility, if you're just talking from a place of being elevated, high above, and I have the answers, but you're not giving room to the fact that you may not fully comprehend or understand the plights or the pain points, then even your contributions and your helping can potentially be harmful to the community you're helping. So that would
makes
be my
total
only
sense, which I think is why
caveat.
he probably gathered black people from each state to talk about it.
And I get Blexit. I understand what Blexit is. Blexit is basically leaving the Democratic Party
And going to
and
the
get conservative and talking about how conservative policies can help the black community.
Exactly.
You know
so
what I'm
you're
saying?
trying to win votes from the black community, so you'll do what you need to do. 1996, Atlanta, the Olympics. We bust up all. We shut down the projects, right? We bust everybody out to Clayton County. We shut down College Park. We shut down 4th Ward. We shut down Mechanicsville. We shut down all these projects so that we could clean up our city. A lot of times they will do things in areas to make themselves feel better. Make the community look better for them, make the community feel safer for them. It doesn't always mean that they are they are trying to work for the best intentions of the black community.
Well, I would say this.
why is MLK in the hood in every city?
I'm
Every city.
going to say this. I have to disagree with you on one thing, Brian. I don't think voting the right person is going to help black people. I don't think that's
Right.
going to
Well,
help.
when
The
I say that,
Democratic Party
I
always
don't
tells
say
me-
help. I mean contribute. I don't say help. I'm talking about.
I don't think contributing. I think we've been voting for so many years. I'm not saying don't vote. I'm saying that we've been voting for so many years, and the city still look like the city. It may be upgraded here and there, but we still got the same mentality. We still got the same thing. I would say self-sufficient. I would say get in your community, become a community leader. And I'm not saying it is not hard. I know it's hard to be a leader, but I think at the same time, if you have a passion for your community, get in your community and help. I seen this brother. He had a school. He started his own school, and it's in Georgia. He started his own school. He did it himself. He didn't wait for the government. He didn't wait for nobody. He started his own school. He helped them kids. I wish I forgot his name, but he did stuff for self. I think for black community, we have to do stuff for each other.
I agree.
Like,
Of course,
it's
I believe that.
almost like black privilege.
I
It's
believe
like
that.
you gotta be privileged. You gotta see other black people as worthy as yourself and say, "Let me help Ryan," because without me helping Ryan may need my opportunity. James may need my opportunity.
Yeah.
Waiting on the right person is not going to do
What
that.
I'm saying-
They may give us money.
Yeah.
They may give us a few things here and there,
It
but
come with
overall,
stipulations
yeah.
though.
I'm not
They're
even-
never gonna give you nothing just to give it to
Yeah.
you. It's gonna come with some stipulations.
Yeah.
And like so, we talk about Charlie Kirk. He started what's it called, Blessings and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like I never seen him go into no black communities in person and really try to make a change. I don't know how much money actually went toward black communities. What I do know is with political figures, they will put things together to appear as if they're really passionate about certain things, because when it comes down to it, they're trying to get funding, they're trying to get support, they're trying to get different things in place. So to me, unless I see your boots on the ground and you really talking to people, like she was saying, getting the pulse of the people and really know what's going on, how could you speak so in depth? That goes back to what you're looking at. You're looking at statistics.
Right.
And if I look on paper, I can look and say, if I want to be whatever, I can look at some statistics and not get the full picture on anything. But if I'm really in the community and I'm seeing what's going on, I'm talking to community leaders, I'm seeing the local churches who are banding together to do stuff. Like the church I go to, they just did something called Bless the Block, where they gave like 800 people boxes of food and clothes and stuff, like boots on the ground, really doing stuff. And people are really caring about people. So when you come with a whole bunch of numbers and you don't know what's going on, and then when folks say they're offended by the way you talking, you act like you don't care. Do you care or do you not? So it's like we can't really respect what you're saying because you're not around. And if you throw some money at the situation, just because you throw money at it don't mean you can talk about me any kind of way you want to. So it's like, if you're going to feel like you can do that to buy my vote or buy my opinion about whatever, then we don't want that. We rather just get it out the mud. Like,
To me, with Charlie Kirk, I think where I struggle is, to me, he was going to campuses to prove points and win debates, not plant seeds. So that's where I struggle with the whole him being a martyr thing. Although I hear what you're saying as well, and I do agree with what are we going to do about these issues now, currently. We know our history, most of us, I hope. We understand the root of a lot of the issues that we see, but what are we going to do about it today? And I don't necessarily have an issue with any person speaking on our issues. It's just, what's your heart posture when you're saying these things? And I also agree, are you out there? Are you talking to people? Do you understand what the day-to-day experience of a Black person, African-American person is when you're describing and talking about these things on college campuses? Because that's where the offense, I think, is coming from, is him not having the awareness of the true Black experience. And so he's saying things, maybe his intention is good. Maybe he does want to help, but throwing money at it isn't really going to help us. We need people who understand what we're going through day to day to come out there and say, okay, I'm here with you. This is how I'm going to contribute to solving these problems.
You gotta know your level of expertise. If I'm going somewhere and somebody doing graphic design or something like that, that's not my area of expertise. I'm gonna fall back. Bro, that's not your area of expertise. Find somebody who knows what's going on if you really want to help instead of just saying crazy stuff.
That's why I'm confused.
What had they done, Chanel? What had they done?
Was it a black person? Was it a black
What
person?
are they doing?
Yes.
Show me.
Just
What
see
is
those
the black
clips, but
person? What are
From
the
every
statistics on
state.
that?
Okay.
No, she's
stance on
correct.
That's what I'm saying. He did do
she's
that.
correct. I think the
But what
thing
I'm saying
He's
is-
not
I think,
throwing
but-
money at the Black community. He formed a go ahead.
No, I think the thing what we're trying to say to you, Shania, is that you're absolutely correct. He did form something in it, but I think the motive behind it was not to just help the Black community. It was, let me get you out of from liberalism to conservatism,
let me school y'all.
and that's what Blexit really is. Even if they're going to HBCUs now to go in there and talk to people about conservatism and talks about like, hey, the reason why y'all problems is the way it is because of liberalism.
And I will say this, and I'm glad I get the last say on this before we transition, because what I wanted to say, when I said elect somebody who cares, I mean an administration that's going to not care about self promotion. Like this whole thing to me, it feels like,
That's
okay,
everyone.
Politics.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example.
This is
Let me
politics,
give you an
bro.
example. I got 5 emails in the last month about prices going up because of the tariffs, right? Because of building materials, because of all these different
Ryan,
things. No,
who?
seriously, what I'm saying is this.
Who?
But what I'm saying is the current administration is not here to help anybody. It's not here to help anybody.
I get
It's
that, but
helping
what
an
I'm saying,
elite
we-
group
we-
of people.
okay,
So when I
I've been-
what
say
did
elect
prior
somebody who
administration
cares,
do?
I'm
I've been
saying
born.
elect-
And the
I've
one
been
before
born
them.
since 1980. I was born in 1981. I've lived through Reagan. I've lived through Clinton. I lived through
Bush.
Baby Bush, Obama.
I understand that.
So, and I've lived in where I'm from in New Jersey. I've lived in poverty before.
But what
so
I'm saying is-
I'm asking you, based off those presidents I just named before Trump, who was the person that said, "Hey, African Americans"?
I'm not saying that.
No,
has to
no.
be
Abraham
right. I'm not
Lincoln.
saying.
But the ones we love,
I'm not saying
like
that
Bill
that's-
Clinton, oh, that's Brother Bill, put the most of us in prison.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the fact that we have an administration that's not stopping the bleeding. The bleeding is gushing now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's the problem that I have. I have a problem when we elect people who are let's just say multi-billionaires, right? I remember sitting there and hearing him say, I made $6.2 billion yesterday. That's chump change. To who? Who is that chump change?
So let me
to?
ask you a question.
That's what I'm saying. So when all you care about is selling steaks and Bibles and fake watches and gold-plated cars and NTFs and all this kind of stuff, that to me does not explain why our country is bleeding.
In the 4 years of your former president, Kamala and Joe, what was the black community? How did the black community?
I'm not just talking about the black community. I'm talking the black community will.
That's what we were talking about.
What I'm saying is the black community will benefit when the bleeding is slowing down. The bleeding is gushing right now. Help the community. I'm gonna tell you this: my mortgage has gone up over $1,000 in the last 18 months because of tariffs, because of the cost of rebuilding my house from ground up. Like this stuff is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
Didn't he start in
Didn't
he start in January?
Huh?
Didn't he start in January?
Yeah, but I'm saying I
That's
live in a
18
flood
months?
zone. No. I'm telling you when my mortgage went up, but I'm saying also
I get
my
that. I
flood
understand
insurance
that.
was a problem too. That's a different situation. But what I'm saying is the tariffs. When I went to get my insurance renewed this year, they told me an additional $500 a month out of my escrow because the cost to rebuild my house has gone up because of the fact that the tariffs have caused the wood to go up. Stuff from overseas, metal, all of that is killing us. It's killing us.
But
so how are we gonna get ahead if we have an administration that doesn't care?
You say he
No,
rich and don't care.
I get that. But what I'm saying to you is, that we are. We were on a stretch already, and based off what you're saying, we were dying already, and somebody just put a gunshot, and it started even bleeding even more.
Yeah, we're gushing right now.
Yeah,
we're
but
gushing
we were already on a stretch.
We were already bleeding.
Okay, that's all I want to
Yeah.
hear.
No, I never said.
Yeah.
I never said the previous.
He was on life support already.
All right.
I'm so hot on this mic. My bad, y'all. I'm so bad.
That boy living in a real time.
All right, so this.
Hey, before we switch to the next
Yeah.
one, I just want to read the definition of martyr.
Go
A
ahead.
person who is killed or made to suffer because of their religious or other beliefs. So
Yeah.
other beliefs is there.
And I was going to say this. I mean, we may not have time to cover it, but I really wanted to get at the answer to what Allie Beth was saying about whether or not martyrdom is tied to someone being perfect. Because we didn't, we kind of touched on it, but we really didn't go deep. So I was just curious to hear, what are you all's, perspectives on that? Do you think a martyrdom has to, have it all together to be considered a martyr?
No.
Peter wasn't perfect. Half those
Exactly.
disciples
John the
had
Baptist
flaws.
wasn't
No,
perfect.
nobody-
So with that being said, then why is there? I know we've said why we don't think he is a martyr, but if martyr is being killed based on your beliefs, that's what he just read. Then how are we saying that he's not?
So he a martyr for nationalism.
Yeah, but not for Christ.
Yeah.
That's what
We'll do that.
that's my view.
Okay,
He's a martyr
so that's
for
where you
nationalism,
all are landing with
conservatism, or whatever.
He's
but
not no
for
Christian
Christ.
martyr. I don't
The
think.
guy who actually killed him, I thought killed him because of his beliefs, which were based on Judeo-Christianity as far as, marriage being between a man and a wife and not
I can see
agreeing
that.
with the LGBT plus community. He was frustrated based on those beliefs, which frustrated him enough to kill him. That's my understanding.
And
But-
those
but it
beliefs
was-
are based on scripture.
Exactly.
Gotcha. I see what you mean. I understand that. But I've also seen Charlie talk about LGBT too. And it's like, man, I hate that you were that's the life that you're in. But at the same time, if you want to be a conservative, we're open for. I'm dead serious. I've seen videos with him saying that to somebody, and then even to somebody who he checked, because they was like they were hardcore Christianity, yo, nobody in LGBT should be in conservatism, and he was like, get off the stage, get away from me. He was like, we can't disagree, we can't sweep people out of our party because they may believe different than you.
I
That's what he
did
was
see
gonna
that
say.
video,
Yeah.
We don't know
and
why
that
that
was
man
great
got killed.
because the guy was like, "Oh, we'll take their money, but we don't want nothing to do with them." So he was like, "We don't operate that way.
Yeah.
That's not even
Yeah.
Christian. You're not a Christian. You're claiming to be." I ain't even gonna say that.
So,
'Cause that's gonna make people crucify me in
speaking
the
of-
comments. But I understood what that was, and that's
Yeah.
right because you can take people as they are and love them out of the way. If Christ intends to love us out of our sin, why do we require people to completely change in front of our eyes before we accept them or we love them? We got to give them
we're
grace and
imperfect
time to
people.
grow into who they are.
We're imperfect people, and that's the fact that we're in a fallen world. Okay, this next one to me is a better example of martyrdom. Y'all tell me this next clip we're gonna react to. Yeah.
to see us through. You are worthy, Lord. To fight for all. You are worthy, Lord. To give us hope. You are worthy, in the name of Jesus.
All right, so there are Nigerians being killed for their beliefs in Christ. To me, that's a better example of martyrdom. That's the definition I've always known as being a martyr. But our prayers go out to Nigeria and all across the country, all across the world, where people are being persecuted for their faith in Christ. I've heard so many great stories about overseas where people will go to great lengths to get the gospel. There's an Asian country where they walk miles and miles and miles to get to this one place where they hide in a building and even like get in trunks of cars to get to this
David Platt was
building.
talking about that in that book.
Yeah.
Radical,
I read that book, and I'm just like, man, we have a different sense of, to me, faith, loyalty to the faith in this country. I just read a really good book by John Bevere, and it was all about him coming back to the States and saying, look, I've seen how they do church in other countries. We got to pull the music out. We got to pull the pews out. We got to make this whole thing about Jesus. The whole thing's got to be about Jesus. And I love that example because when he announced it and decided to do it, he only had standing room available in the church. And this was on Friday nights because he didn't want to disrupt what service was. But then they came out on Friday more than they came out on Sunday to experience this type of atmosphere of worship. And I thought that's really, really good. So, in other countries, our hearts and prayers go out to what's happening. But this is an example of undying faith, man. Like the church has been bombed. The clip we saw, and they're still there. Showing people that they're resilient in their faith and that they're not going to be moved or shaken.
And this is not just Africa. We're not just talking about people in Africa. We're talking about we got brothers and sisters in the Middle East that's getting killed. We got brothers and sisters in Asia's getting killed. So I think Ukraine, all this, we got people dying for the faith. It just hasn't hit America yet, and it's coming to America sooner or later. You know what I'm saying? Like Eddie Murphy. But I think, but the reason I'm saying that is because as you look at the signs of the time, stuff is starting to happen in our country that never happened before. That it's going to come sooner or later about being a martyr for the faith, and I think that's the thing. That's the great falling away that I think people always talk about. The great falling away. That's going to be the great falling away when you have to decide. Is Jesus or Eaton or Jesus or my family or Jesus or it is like that's coming to America sooner or later. So I just think that we have to be really understanding that because I think we feel like this is so free nilly and everything that that we can just do what we want and based off our Constitution, we have freedom of speech, but sooner or later it's going to hit America where people are going to trying to kill you for the faith of Jesus Christ.
In Sudan, I saw something. There's some people being starved right now because of their faith. They said if they don't denounce Christianity, they're gonna starve them. I mean, even in like the last conversation we would have, it's like first world problems. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about this stuff in the comfortability of being in a podcast studio where we can share our opinions freely without worrying about going outside necessarily and meeting our demise immediately. I think when I see stuff like this, it kind of just centers you and brings you back in focus to like Christianity is a worldwide thing. The Bible is a worldwide faith. Like I think a lot of times we westernize it because we live in the Western side. We westernize it and look at it through the scope of our just everyday life. But when you see stuff like this, it lets you know like people are really standing firm, like being killed for this and really dying for this. Like I remember doing a Bible study with some people in Pakistan, and we gave them some Bibles, and like the way they broke down and they cried and just celebrated just because they had Bibles in their hand, like it convicted me immediately. I got a Bible app. I got like 4 or 5 different Bibles at home, like, and then their village got attacked by like Muslim insurgents, and like they were gone for a few weeks, and when they came back, literally some of them were missing because they were killed during the attack, and they came right back and were still willing to have Bible study. So yeah, it's a thing that really opens your eyes and lets you know it's bigger than what we're dealing with and what we have going on. We get passionate about this stuff because this is our perspective from where we live, and like it's all relative. But just remember that it's bigger than what you're going through. It's a worldwide thing going on.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people understand. Going back to what you're saying, like I think when people just have the basics, they're just grateful for like everything. So getting a Bible that you think like you can get like at Amazon or Walmart, for them it's like treasure. Like, man, I want the word. You know what I'm saying? I want to read the word. You know what I mean? I gotta hide it in different things. You know what I'm saying? So I think our gratefulness could be better. Like we can be better with our gratefulness here in America, so that the word will be like, you know, treasure to us.
As far as you saying it's coming to America, I think about Flint, Michigan. How long has it been since them folks ain't had no clean water?
Yeah.
It's like you trying to tell me in all these years we can't get clean water in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And they still have to pay for it, which was crazy.
yeah,
to
it
me.
makes you wonder, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So on this next clip, Ayesha Curry said that she never wanted to have kids and that she had her own career goals, and her husband just doesn't understand. So let's check that out.
4 kids. Did you always knew you wanted a big family?
No. So I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it. And I had my eyes set on my goals, and I was never the little girl that like dreamt about the wedding dress and all of that. And then it happened so early in my life. So it's like it's one of those things like you don't know what you actually don't know what you want.
It's so hard also to be the woman in a situation where you're like, men just don't get as much scrutiny. Like they can maybe tell him like your shots suck tonight, but like the looks and all of that is just like not a factor of conversation as much.
No.
Did you talk to Steph about it? Like, or did you kind of keep it within yourself so it didn't?
I do not have a bone in my body that can keep anything to myself. So if it comes to mind, it's coming out. And he's so gracious. Like he tries to resonate with me, but he just can't. And he also comes from a place of like, it's effing stupid. Like, it's not true. So why? And I'm like, but wait, like, listen to how it makes me feel. And he's like, but why does it make you feel like that? It's not real. It's so interesting. I spent my entire life like trying to work towards something, and then it kind of just disappeared, and I didn't think twice about it. But after my daughter turned 1, I remember there being a shift and being like, I have goals for myself. Like, this doesn't feel right. I love being a mom, but I love doing other things too. And I need to get my together and figure out what that looks like for myself now.
If I have a career and I'm not home, like, did you experience that?
I still experience that. I still experience that. I'm always in therapy talking about this. If you lose all of those things that were interesting about you, even for yourself, like even the things that made me feel confident and cool, then what are you doing?
That's crazy. I never would have thought that she would have said that on a podcast. Yeah, because
that's her truth. She's telling her truth.
You tell your truth, but you already got the kids. You already got the kids. I mean, I wouldn't want to know, you know. I wouldn't want to, like, okay, my dad was just like, hey, after we had your sister, you know, we were cool, you know, and you came along. I was like, dang, I wasn't even playing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, want me, you know what I'm saying? But I'm being funny, obviously, because my dad loved me, like he never would have probably said he didn't want a son. But what I'm saying is, like, yeah, man, to me, it sounds, there's a lot of things I want to say, but I'm not in the right place to make those comments because I don't know her that well to say that. But if it were my sister, I'd be like, man, sister, you sound like you're coming from a place of privilege because you have a lot of things right now that a lot of people would want. And there's a lot of people that are praying for, God to open up their womb and for God to be able to give them a spouse that loves them and treats them the right way. And, you kind of hit the lottery when you did that. So it's like...
You hit the lottery.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, Steph's not a dude that's walking all over her and you know what I'm saying? Like, trying to...
treated her with respect.
Yeah.
Embarrassing her.
Yeah. But, I mean, and then, is a man of God, a self-proclaimed man of God or whatever that he says he is. And so it's just like, well, he's got godly principles in his heart that he's trying to steward his family over. And you're kind of like, dissing that.
Yeah, I don't never try to speak from a woman perspective.
Yeah.
I've never been a woman and never will be. You gotta say that these days.
Make that clear.
It's weird times. You know what I'm saying? I can understand what she's saying. She had plans for her life and she had these ambitions and these goals. And now, when you become a parent, a lot of those things become secondary and you have to try to figure things out and all that kind of stuff. And I respect it. I get it. Life happens sometimes in a way we unexpect. But there's two things. One, this is some stuff. If you say you talk to your therapist about it, that's a private setting. Why are you airing out conversations that you have in private on media? Because it gives like clout chasing.
Yeah.
Two, I missed the part where Steph put a gun to her head and said, "Marry me or else." You know what I'm saying? Like, you had the option to live the life that you wanted to live. If being with Steph was not didn't present you the life that you wanted, you could have just said, "Hey, you're a great guy." People do it every day. You're a great guy. I think you're going to be successful. You got a lot of good things going for you. But for me, I want to be this businesswoman. I want to be this career girl. I want to do this. You had the option to do that. But it's just me just speculating. He happens to be the best shooter to ever pick up a basketball. He's a millionaire. He has a pretty good life. You know what I'm saying?
Hit the lottery.
And it's like, at that point, you got to make a business decision. Do I go with the guy who's in love with me, who can secure me and have me a good future, we can have a family, or do I just take my chances and pursue the things that I want to pursue? Some people will say, you know what, I don't want to do this, I'm going to do what I want to do, and some folks say I'm going to get married or whatever. So it's like, now that you've made that choice, and I understand that you may have a few regrets here and there about the way some things went, don't come out every time you pick up a microphone and make your husband look crazy about the stuff that comes out of your mouth. She was just on another interview. A man came in with no shirt. She acting like she's taking her wedding ring off and doing all this kind of stuff. It's like, it's giving like Jada Pinkett 2.0. You know
I was just thinking that,
She-
I was just thinking that, but I was like, oh no.
She's Jada Pinkett 2.0. You know what I'm saying? And it's really just embarrassing and it's shameful. And it's like, if you have these emotions, cool. Like, talk to them with your therapist. Don't come online, because now it's like, you're doing whatever you got to do to be recognized, to be seen, because it's something inside of you that just wants this platform to be recognized. You're not cool with just your husband being the one that people recognize and you're his wife. And you can have your own identity. You can have your own
great
thing.
chef.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought she had
got
successful
cookware.
businesses
Yeah,
too.
like
Like, what is
win.
happening?
Like you in a position to win. He didn't say you can't do nothing, and he can't tell you that no way. But you you can do whatever you want to do. You're literally a millionaire with a platform. People subscribe to whatever you say and do. So that same platform that you have to do whatever you say and do something constructive instead of tell your husband down every time you pick up a microphone.
Tyler Perry
I've
called
yet-
Steph Curry.
I've yet to find
I'm gonna tell you why.
a goal. I'm sorry. You
Oh, I'm
slow
sorry.
down.
I would say this. I mean, cut you off. I'm sorry.
you're fine.
I said Tyler Perry called Steph Curry because, okay, so I did some research. She was doing acting. I think deep down, she was an actress before they got together. Like, and I saw like a video of stuff where she was acting and stuff.
Okay.
So I think the thing is this. I think she always thought, and this is just my assumption based off what she said before, that she was going to be the big dog, where she was going to be an actress, where she was going, people going to come to her and say, "Hey, Ayesha, can I get your autograph?"
She
and
can
he was going to
still
be,
do that.
yeah, she can. That's why I'm
She
saying.
still is that.
Tyler Perry or Steph Curry call each other so you can get your wife in a film, because that's what she wants. She wants, because even also too, remember that saying she did talk to Jada on the red table talking, was like, "Hey man, why don't no men come to me and talk to me? Why I feel like I remember
I'm
saying
jealous
that
people
like,
don't slide in my DMs.
yeah.
or something
I
like
remember
that.
that.
Yeah, a little bit. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, so maybe the acting world, you're
Yeah.
used to getting attention being an actress.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what she, like you said, she has books, she has
Cookware.
cookware. She's a chef. She has her own restaurant. So for some people looking in, it's like, you got a lot. Why are you not content?
Exactly.
But for her, she may want to act. She may want to get back into acting.
They can be the They can be the Beyonce and the Jay if they want to, where people are equally looking at them like, man, you got this and you did that and
Stop
you got this hit
embarrassing your
song and that
husband
hit
on
song.
podcasts and go act then.
Do
Like,
that part.
Be in the movie. If you got time to sit down to these folks and talk and take rings off and do all this stuff, you got time to go act. Go act. You acting anyway.
Listen.
I'm about to say another thing, but you acting anyway.
I have yet
like go
to-
do get paid for it at least.
Me and my wife have yet to run across a career goal that we can't manage with 4 kids. But I will tell you this, nothing ties me down more in my life than this show.
Yeah.
Because I can't go to LA. I can't pick up and move to wherever a job wants me to go because I'm committed to doing this for the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like you make your decisions and you live with it. You had kids. Be happy about that and live with it. First of all, also, they're going to grow up.
Yeah.
You got plenty of time to figure things out in whatever direction you want to go in. But here's the thing. Like James said, you already are in a position to where you can utilize whatever you want to get whatever career goal you want. You can call any industry. You can call any person to get to that point if you want to be there. Go ahead, Vera.
Oh, go ahead.
I have thoughts. Okay, for starters, I think what I was hearing her communicate, it sounds like cognitive dissonance. And it sounds like you thought your life would be away. And perhaps she did choose to marry the man she loved, right? Like she thought that was a good decision. But that doesn't mean that like she's not having to grapple with the hard realities of what came with that she didn't anticipate. And just because this man has all this money and all this fame and all this acclaim doesn't mean that there's not hardship attached to marriage. Like being a wife comes with its own responsibilities and difficulties. Being a mother comes with its own hardships and difficulties. And so I think something I've been thinking about as of late is like what comes with the weightiness? Like what is the weightiness of being a wife? And how can I prepare for that?
Good.
Right? Because sometimes if you're just looking at it from an aesthetic perspective, it's like, oh, she looks good. She has all the things. She has the man. But you don't know what they're dealing with behind closed doors. You don't know what she's dealing with. You don't know what her kids are dealing with. And so it's just like there's so many other elements that come with being married that you don't necessarily get with being single. And I'm sure there's additional weightiness that comes with them being like him being famous that we just aren't aware of, right? I'm not saying it's okay for her to disrespect her husband. I am not for that at all. But I do think that perhaps this has just been difficult for her to navigate. If she feels like she lost her identity, you know what I mean? In some sense, she's like the things that I used to associate with myself, I no longer identify with, and I'm trying to figure that out. That's a common thing that I feel like I've heard from women who become mothers. And she got multiple children. You know what I mean? So that's a lot.
But when you're in it, you're in it.
But it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel things.
You
It doesn't
can
mean
feel
that
it.
you're not going to
You
wrestle
can feel
with
it, but I'm not
the
gonna get on a
realities.
podcast and start talking about how
Right.
being a father has weighed me down from not being able to XYZ and you know it's pointless to do that because you have the kids, you have the husband, you have the life.
I can
It's
feel
pointless to get out there.
I
and
can
do
feel what she's saying. Like I get it. Like I said, I'm not a woman. I try to speak to the best of my ability. I'm not a woman, so I can't really connect totally with the woman's emotion. I can just give my opinion. That's what we do on here. But it's just like I wouldn't share that. I wouldn't share those thoughts on a huge platform like that because now I can speak from a man perspective. A man, especially when you feel like the woman has a role in the household, she's a mother. A man would never know how it feels to be a mother, like a woman would never know how it feels to be a father. She has a role that needs to be respected and valued. But a man who feels like he's going out there, he's a breadwinner, he's taking care of his family, putting his family in a place to succeed and thrive and have all these opportunities, when he's doing those type of things and all he hears is disrespect or I wish it could be different or
complaining.
I don't like this, it makes you feel undervalued and it makes you feel unappreciated as a man. So it's like, now, we're going to have these real kind of conversations. We can have it behind the scenes, but when you go on every platform and you're doing the kind of gesture and the thing that she's doing, from a man perspective, that makes you feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying his feelings are more important than hers, but the public platform is not the place for those kind of discussions. Your therapist or someone you really can trust and confide in behind the scenes is a place for that kind of conversation. I personally feel like.
One thing my mama said to me was like, if you got to talk, you got to vent. That's understandable. That's a human component, especially among us women. We're yappers. You know, we bond by getting together and talking.
Verbally
It helps us
communicating.
live longer, right? But if you're talking to 3 or more people, you want attention. And I said, ooh, That was something to swallow. So now if I keep finding myself bringing up things, it's like, okay, what's the root behind this? And she sounds like she's bleeding. You feel like you lost your identity. Okay, you're a believer. We know our identity is found in Christ. You got to go to God for that. I understand your life may not look the way that you thought it would look, but did you think that maybe your life looks the way that he originally designed for you to look? So it's like, I understand you didn't expect to have these things. And then also it sounds like you bought into the feminism dream. And ironically, I was just talking to my uncle about this. It lied to us. It failed us because, baby, all of these working women out here, I love being career motivated. I love this, but I am tired.
I'm exhausted.
I am exhausted. I would love to be retired.
It is exhausted.
And cook from scratch and make cookbooks, baby. I would love to do that. I love to bake.
Garden.
For that being, baby, what you did today, I made a brownie from a distinct potato today. I just wanted to... Listen, you can make brownies from sweet potatoes.
You sure can. My wife
And
does
add
a good job
protein
at
to
doing
them.
that.
And Mex-
Yeah.
that's my new thing. I love
Yeah, my wife does that.
configuring these things and still making it taste good, but be good
Yeah.
for you. So it's like, girl, you are living a dream right now. But anyway, that's the importance of living with purpose. You can't just be living. You're going to be drugged. And it looks she's drugged and she's bleeding on anyone who will listen. So it's like, I just really encourage her to really just tackle in, go to the Lord, figure out what his steps are for you right now. Because even 1 Timothy 6:6 came to me. Godliness with contentment is great gain. And you're going to continue to bleed until you find contentment. And one thing that I really love with Paul, he was like, in all things, he was good, whether he had a lot, whether he didn't, whether he had all his bread or whether he had crumbs. Like understanding that with God, I have everything. I understand you got millions, but you can't even see the opportunity, like Plain James is saying before you, like you got the money to sponsor your own cooking show and sell it to Food Network. Or the different things that you can do. You can partner with Tyler Perry. You can fund a movie.
You can call anybody you want to call.
Anybody you want to call. You can produce your own movies, baby, that you starting
got
to.
a Rolodex.
But you can't see that because you wallowing into, oh, this is not what I want. But you don't, and you compete with your husband because you want to be the star of the show. But it's not, and you want male attention, baby. That's the worst thing that you.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's really scary about this is children can turn on you, and your spouse can leave you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you really want to chase this dream, but you give up a lot. You give up a lot. So that's it's scary to me. It's scary.
I just wanted to add a little additional nugget, a slightly different perspective. I agree with what you're saying. I do think though that it is beneficial to hear perspectives from women who seemingly have it all. Like hearing Michelle Obama talk about the difficulty of what it was to navigate being married to Barack is sobering to hear, because I think it gets to the root of like, we can't find our contentment or our wholeness or like just our complete joy in a man, like in a marriage, in a position. And so it puts me in check. You know, like as a single woman preparing, I'm like, okay, you know, you got all these things, but it's still not giving you what you were after or what you expected. Like there was this like surprise when you came upon, you know what I mean, these realities. And so how can I prepare myself for that and be aware that regardless of what it looks like, it might not be everything that you expect it to be.
I think it's
and it may
dangerous,
not supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Shania talked about this a few episodes about. Like people are going to fail you, and that's how it's supposed to be set up. You know what I mean? So how can we then prepare our hearts for the fact that like your husband is not going to fulfill your every need. Your children are not going to fulfill your every need. How can you learn how to be okay, take care of yourself with God first and foremost, but also with, you know, mental health and all these other components to make sure that you're well first so that you're not pouring from an empty place. But I think it's important for us to know that when we have, like, even when you've accumulated all this wealth, all is vanity. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with us being made aware of that.
I just think it's dangerous. I think the part that this scares me is that people are going to use her example as a deterrent for themselves. I know somebody who's like, I'm not getting married because my parents had a terrible marriage in front of me. And it's like, well, but you don't know. The whole idea is that you might be the one to get it right. You know, I come from a family where everybody is divorced, but I still was committed to saying, if I find a wife, I'm going to make sure that we do everything we can to keep it together. You know what I mean? So I wasn't afraid to try it just because I saw everybody around me was divorced, including my parents. But it was almost like if I listened to people on the internet, if I listened to people in bad marriages tell me that, hey, it's going to be bad when you get here, then I wouldn't have tried. And I think that's the scary part to me is that when people are on the internet, they hear other people talking about their woes, and then it makes them afraid to try.
That's fair. That's fair. But I think we can be prayerful and also trust that, like, the Holy Spirit is the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And one person's voice, hopefully, will not be the thing that jacks a person's life up.
And I'll
You know
say
what I
this too. Like last thing was like last night I was going through something. I told you that my laptop crashed and I had some other things happening this week where I was just like, man, I'm feeling down. And last night my son got into my bed and my daughter got into my bed and they just nuzzled next to me. And I looked up at the sky and I said, God, I feel more successful now than any point in my day, any point in my week, because they're here to love me and I'm here to love them by your design. And that's all that mattered at the end of the night. You know, I went to bed with a smile on my face. And so to me, it's like one of those things where you find your peace where you are. You find it in what you have in front of you. And you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel in your mind when you're already there. I can't go back and undo my kids. I would never want anything to happen to my kids. But there are hard times my wife and I face. I mean, homework is enough. By the time 8 o'clock rolls around, we like, go to bed because it's over. Like our minds are done.
I see.
So yeah. So, I just hope that Steph won't take this to heart and the kids won't take this to heart when they look back one day and they start going, am I really?
I hope and pray that she just goes to God and gives God her
There
first
you go.
expressions
Yep.
too.
Amen.
Like go to God
Yeah.
first about
Yep.
these things,
Yeah.
not anybody else. Just go
Yeah.
to the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
I need to end with a poll.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what do you think about Ayesha's statement on not wanting kids and sharing this publicly? 26% says I feel her on that. 37% now says why is she sharing this publicly? 17% says might be having a midlife crisis, and 20% says she needs therapy, contentment.
You know what would be helpful with the polls? If we knew where everybody's status was. Because there could be single folks, there could be divorced folks, there could be married folks giving their own kind of like projection. And that would be interesting to know, like how many of the 26% that said I feel her on that are single or married or divorced or whatever. Because I think that I don't trust polls. I really don't. All right, here we go.
Man, shout out
Politics jacked you up.
Shout out to Crispy on
Shout
the
out
poll.
to Crispy on the
Yeah.
polls.
They're funny. They're hilarious. But I don't trust them.
So I've been experiencing something that ties in with what has always interested me and oftentimes turned me away from faith. When people are having interactions with faith, interactions with Christ, interactions with, God, a lot of people's first reaction is to be like this. Then comes the condemning and the judging and the fact checking. And I understand the natural sensitivity to something you fiercely care about, something you fiercely believe in, and the instinction to then protect it. But I often wonder if you guys ever stop and take a pause and realize if this is how Jesus would react. As someone who grew up Christian, completely got away from the faith, and then has returned to more so following and deepening my understanding of Jesus and character, the reaction that's been spinning me has been, oh, well, anybody can sing about Jesus. Let's see if the fruit speaks. And my favorite response to that was, well, did you even pray for her first to have godly fruit before you said this? Isn't the goal here for everyone to find the love of God? Isn't the goal here that, I assume the goal is that's what, you guys say sometimes. The goal is for everyone to realize they're a child of God and to find faith. And notoriously in the Bible, Jesus didn't do any of that.
That's an interesting take from Kehlani. What do y'all think about that?
Well, I'm just want to start by saying I'm really happy to see Kehlani having these type of discussions
Okay.
publicly.
Sure.
I didn't realize that she was coming into a relationship with Jesus, so I'm really happy to see that. But also, I understand where she's coming from. I would consider myself to be a newer believer. I just came into true relationship out of lukewarm, living just last year. So,
Amen.
yeah, and
You
it's
gotta hear
been a
this testimony
journey.
one day.
It's been a journey. But I agree with her. I do feel like one of the things that kept me from going back to church after years and years of just saying, you know what, that's just not for me. People are too judgmental. People aren't willing to really hear you out and understand what you're struggling with day to day, addiction or what have you. They're so quick to point out the flaw in you, point out where you haven't arrived to yet. And I believe that me experiencing an encounter with the Lord and feeling his love in a present moment, feeling his presence is what really turned me and said,
that's so
okay,
good.
Aaliyah, do you want this? Do you want this love, this relationship? Do you want to chase after this, or do you want to continue chasing after all of these things that have let you down time and time again? And so I do think that it is biblical to say, let's look at the fruit, let's assess the fruit of a person. But when people are coming into knowing Jesus, the fruit isn't always going to be there. And just like any plant, it takes time for a fruit to grow.
Yes.
It's a process. Sanctification is a process. And so we need to be gracious in that and just understand that it's not going to bear fruit in a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
It could be a year, 2 years before we see a person truly grow and mature spiritually in their walk with the Lord. So I just pray that people hear where her heart was coming from, because I felt that just being a newer believer. Give me some time, help me along the way. Rebuke in love. I want to be rebuked. I want to be corrected, but do that in love, not in pride and condemnation.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
That's very
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that brings me to a question for you, because we've had that conversation a lot on this show. When it comes to a platform, how comfortable did you feel coming out in? I mean, you got the Pure Talks podcast. How comfortable did you feel about your readiness to talk about what you've been going through?
So I haven't launched a podcast yet. It's coming soon, a couple of weeks from now. But I did share a few public posts on my testimony coming out of a sorority, the Lord calling me out of Delta after 10 years nearly of membership, and just realizing that was a demonic covenant.
I
And
denounced this year.
I heard, and I was so happy.
Thank
I
you.
was praising the Lord
That was
for
last
it.
year.
I
More
was,
game banging,
yeah.
man. I'm proud of you.
It was really tough. I think the mental battle of, because I was a people pleaser, I cared about what people thought about me. And so it was really tough to come out and publicly speak on it. And I was mostly afraid of the condemnation. I was mostly afraid of the opinions and the harsh words and responses of people. But the Lord really kept me through that time, that first 6-7 months of just coming out and saying, look, y'all, this isn't it. We've been deceived. I urge you to read the word, read these scriptures, go here, pray about it. And it only took one prayer of seeking God for wisdom and understanding as to why I was stuck in the rut that I was in.
Wow.
That night, God answered the prayer and showed me that I was a part of something, that these are the spiritual strongholds that are binding you to these issues, and you can have freedom, you can be redeemed. And he's done just that for me. So,
Hey, that's great.
Amen.
That's great.
yeah.
That's great.
I think with Kehlani, I was looking at it. We talked about it on the call this week when I was still awake. I think the rough part about her and why she may be getting so much backlash is because we've seen her do like Santeria and do different things to person, and because of that, the public is not always so forgiving. And you have this huge platform, and you're walking out your salvation or your attempt to follow Christ in real time in front of all these people who are following you for different reasons. So when people see this, they see you do it and see, and now you switching up doing this, there are going to be people talking about it. People are going to have things to say because you're not doing this behind the scene. You have hundreds of thousands of followers you're doing this in front of.
Millions.
And, millions, and you're subject to public opinion. So that's tough when you're walking your walk out in front of a lot of people. So it takes a lot of tough skin. that's why I've always been a fan of, even if you have a huge platform, if you're doing this for real, to do it behind the scenes, because trying to follow Christ is difficult already when you're getting proper discipleship, because everything you told yourself yes to in your flesh, you are now learning that that's stuff you can't do. Now it's like I'm listening to the Holy Spirit tell me no to the things I thought was normal or just everyday things. So I'm becoming a new creature. So that's tough. Now imagine becoming a new creature with 1 million people giving their opinions on it at the same time. So that's why I always recommend doing that behind the scenes. That's where when you pop out with your platform, you can say, hey, I've gone through an extensive change. Like God's been working on my heart, and you're more seasoned and prepared to do that, you know. But what happens is, and I get it, people want them to go on the journey with them. It's like, you see me do this, now follow me on the journey, because it's like, if you're a fan of me, you support what I'm doing, let me show you what's really going on. Like, this is where my life is headed, and you want to show people. But sometimes if you don't have thick enough skin to deal with the scrutiny that come along with that, it's wiser for you to do that behind the scenes and then pop back out once you feel like you're in a place of maturity where you can articulate what you've been going through correctly.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
too. And I think too, what I can see how that statement could have been offensive, like, but at the same time, I don't know why I feel like I don't think it was intended to be when they was like, hold on, y'all, the fruit gonna speak. Because we are supposed to look for the fruit in people. We are. I don't think that that's a negative, condemning thing at all. And I thought that was pretty wise for the person to be like, chill, we gonna see the fruit. But at the same time, I think that there's some fruit that does take a long time to germinate. And there's some things that you will just notice and you'll see, like your spirit will agree with their spirit. Because even with Aaliyah speaking, I was like, oh my God. Like, I wouldn't even have known she was a new believer. Just the humility that is just oozing out of her or whatever, that is a fruit of the spirit. Amen. So it's like, yeah. And then I think also in the humility in that same breath, not to compare at all, but I'm just saying as far as what Kehlani, you shouldn't be offended by people saying that they want to judge your fruit, especially if you understand what that means.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You shouldn't take offense to that, especially like Plain James has said, we've seen you, girl, operate as a witch. So you shouldn't be upset with us for being like, whoa there. Yeah. Are you a wolf in sheep's clothing trying to play with us? Or are you serious?
And it's also about, people inspecting your fruit because of the exposure that you may have in front of their kids. If I have a teenage daughter that loves her, then I'm like, and she's like, well, mommy, she's, daddy, she's following Jesus now. And you're like, all right, well, cool. Well, let me learn this on and see, if this is something I want you to, engage with. So it doesn't necessarily mean that she's being judged by people who are trying to inspect. Sean raised this question to me. He called me. We were having a conversation one day, and he was just like, if you met Tayana Taylor in person, what would your conversation with her be like? Would you hold her to the same accountability that you hold her to the show, or would the conversation be different? And I was like, man, that's good. I mean, I sat there and I thought about it for a minute. I said, I think I would still say what I said on the show, but I would let her know, like, hey, my only concern is, when you do these long prayers on these award shows, I said, you come back out and you do something else that's completely contradictory. I don't want my daughters to be deceived if I say, hey, this is somebody that you can look at that's following Jesus, and I'm okay with you, viewing her content. Now, I got young daughters, so they don't do anything social media right now. But my thought would be, you came out and you did this long prayer, Jesus don't play about me, this, that, and the other, but then you go on Twitter and you say, just let me get my back blown out, in private, please. And it's like, yo, like that was a week after the prayer. Why? I wanted my daughter to look at this, and now I can't let her look at this. That's to me.
It's
what people are doing.
I think that's what it is.
And maybe in private, like you were saying, like just develop that. Let the Lord develop your heart and your character for a little while, because that's honestly what I had to realize too. Like I had a platform, but I realized, like, you know what? There's a lot that I don't know about the nature of God. And should I be out here talking about this so soon, even though I'm real zealous right now and I want all my besties to come out of that sorority, fraternity, all those things. It's like, let me take some time to let the Lord develop me and grow me for a while. And then when he says, go, you're ready, then go. Because you're going to mislead people, going through your roller coaster of discipleship.
And you have an
Yeah.
adversary. So you got to look at it. You got an adversary in the devil who's not going to just sit back and let you just come to Christ and be in peace.
Right.
So you got to deal with spiritual attack. Then you got to deal with the opinions of people.
Yeah, that's
then
true.
you got to battle against your flesh.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
battle with insecurities, and
Yeah.
doubts, and all kinds of emotions. Like, it's a lot to take on for one person.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have community. It's cool to have discipleship, people who can really pour into you, so you're not doing this alone, trying to navigate it with just your platform of people who follow you for whatever reason. But they might not really care about you for real. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes people
Yeah.
are just following you because you scratch an itch for them in a certain area. Like, a lot of her music is sensual, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they might just want that music to put them in that mode. You just don't never know what's going on. But if you know you have some people who are really trying to go the same direction, who are pouring into you spiritually, praying with you, walking you through this, like, it's a different thing. It's a different tone, and it helps build you up, because Christianity is not something that's meant to be done isolated. It's meant to be done in a communal area. You know what I'm saying?
So speaking of platforms, this next clip we're going to react to, Forrest Frank, he said that he is not going to take any awards because the greatest trophy that he has is his eternity with Christ. So let's take a listen at that.
As Christians, it's hard to know where the line in the sand is between being in the world and not of the world. And as a Christian artist, you know, I dress kind of like the world. I kind of look like the world. My music can kind of sound like the world. So where's the line in the sand drawn? And I'm convicted personally that a line that I can draw is that I will not receive a trophy for something that is from Jesus and for Jesus. And I was wrestling with this last year. I even said that on stage at the Dove Awards. I said, I'm still struggling with the concept of receiving this award, but all glory to Jesus. Every name will fade away, including mine except for one name. But I feel a conviction to go even a step further and say, I don't know if I even want to step on the stage. I don't know if I want to step in the room. And so I have decided to take a stance of non-participation. I will not be attending the Doves or the Grammys. I hope to be an example to the youth that the trophy is our salvation. The trophy is that my name is listed in the book of life and I get to have eternal life. What good is a piece of metal gonna do compared to that?
Interesting take, because he won 3 Dove Awards last night.
That's good, though.
He's been getting a lot of backlash for this.
Jelly
Roll, yeah. And man, I thought one of the bigger stories of the Doves was Jelly Roll.
He won a Dove
Yeah, he
Award,
won.
yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's great to see somebody, you know, from the mainstream come into our space and get that kind of love and
Man,
treatment.
you know some of them Christians, and they're like, why he win? You know, in their
He
heart.
took a shot at Forrest Frank, too.
He did. He
Oh,
did.
at the stage? Oh, no, he
Yeah.
did.
He said you
From the
can't-
stage?
Can't see the forest from the trees or something, he said.
Oh, snap. And so, yeah, he's still learning.
Throwing shots at the Christian Award show. Come
But
on, y'all.
you know, a lot of people have been raising comments. I've looked at comments on his page where they're like, "Well, you sell $100 hoodies. You know what I'm saying? You're making $1 million. You cashing all these checks that you know you got from doing Christian music." And I had this conversation yesterday. I was doing an interview on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM channel 140. Shout out to them. And you know, basically, we were talking about a trophy can mean that you show that it reminds you that your work is not in vain, that your labor is not in vain. I think about that with track stars. We got awards on the back of the wall, and it's just like, it reminds us that when we get down on ourselves, because we get down on ourselves. I mean, when you've been doing something for 19 years and you
It's
still
now popping off.
it's
Yeah.
now popping up. But
Yeah.
but you also have frustrations of the things that happen along the way. You know, I remember having a conversation with Sean when I was like, man, I was sitting in front of my house and I was like, bro, I'm ready to quit. He's like, nah, don't give up. We can't give up. And then I remember having conversations with him where he was like, man, I'm ready to just whatever. And I'm like, no, we can't give up. So it's like that accountability is there. But we get to that point where you're feeling like, man, is this even going to ever work? And then when you get recognized for something, you're like, okay, God is showing me that my labor is not in vain.
Amen.
And so I get that aspect of it as well. But yeah, I mean, man.
I don't think that's wrong. I mean,
I don't think anything is wrong with what he said. I just probably would have made it a press release and not an Instagram post. Because here's the thing. I think he took his label by surprise. Because they're the ones submitting the music for him.
folks don't care. They getting a check.
Yeah.
I think the important thing that he said that people are overlooking is it's a personal conviction. He's not saying that you're in sin if you go or you're wrong.
right.
It's a personal conviction for him. So, and if for anyone who comes out and says, "Hey, you're making money off your music and you're selling your merchandise. Anybody who does any kind of arts or music or acting, whatever it is, is the cost that goes into it. You're investing into it, you get a return. You get a return. Guess what you do? You continue to invest in what you're doing to try to make it reach as many people as possible. There's no sin in that. Now, if your heart is to glorify yourself and not the Lord, then you might have an issue. You know what I'm saying? But for him making money and stuff off his craft, since there's no sin in that, and he's not saying everybody's in sin for getting an award.
Yeah.
We know that's not the case. He just say it's a personal conviction for him, and I can't tell you not to be convicted or not be convicted when it's personal for you. Some people may look at it like, hey, I'm gonna go to the platform so I can share a word that brings more people to Christ. Like what Harvey shared when he won his award.
that's right.
He shared the gospel and it talked about, the coming to Christ. Like that's what he chose to do. That was his personal conviction. So I just think let the man live. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But he's not condemning nobody else.
I think that the fact of the matter of like him doing that, like you said, it is a personal conviction. It's a personal conviction of saying, this is what, and we don't know his heart. Maybe his heart is like, if I get these awards, I'm gonna get prideful. So let me stop.
Yeah.
So to my fans, because he didn't broadcast this on anywhere. To my fans, hey, the reason you're not seeing me at the Dove Awards is because this situation. I just feel like I don't want to receive awards because I feel like our award is in heaven. That's just how I feel. And but honestly, I'm gonna say this, and then some people gonna have a problem when I'm saying it. Just showed the artist in our space when in his comments and in what people posted. Like, it's so many people that they love validation and they love.
Yeah.
I mean, validation is they love validation, but they also understand that their hard work awards come with your hard work. So I get that. But at the same time, what's your motives behind wanting to get a Grammy? What's your motives
That
around
part.
getting the Dove? If you're trying to get a Dove because you can tell people, yo, I'm a Dove Award winner, or I'm a Grammy Award winner, then you got to check your motive. That's just being real.
Well, you could just be like, look, I'm going to show you that I didn't have to compromise my stance and my faith, and by sticking to my guns and making music to glorify God, I still was able to accomplish great things.
Yeah, that too. That too. But I heard the whole process. All of this is politics, bro.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that, Dove, Grammys, Oscar, when I mean politics, I mean, no, I'm serious. It's all about voting and who you like. So if everybody in this room like Plain James, we're going to vote for Plain James. If everybody in this room like Aaliyah, we're going to vote for, you get what I'm saying? So it's really a politics thing of who you choosing and who voting. It's a voting process. It's not just like, it's not by like, yo, they had the much success, they should get the award. It's based off like, hey, we got to vote in a committee. This is how we vote.
Well, he surpassed Drake. I think he was going to get something. I just don't think you ignore the most popular artist out there besides Drake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just don't think you do that.
Now, I am happy that he did that, and like you said, followed his own personal conviction. And the reason why I thought that was dope is because there are a lot of artists that are motivated by awards, and I have been in conversation with talented, popular artists, and it was just like, oh, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing in my career. This and this. What step should I take next? Okay, well, what are you trying to do? Well, take this route. Oh no, I can't do that because then I won't get any awards. So what are we doing then? So are we making music to glorify God, to preach the gospel? Like what is our motivations here? And it was like, yeah, but in order for you to get I got to do this type thing in order for me to get awards, and then I get this and I get that and I get that. I just stopped talking because it was like, now I see where your motives are. But it's just like, so if that's where your motives are, I don't have nothing to say to you, especially as a worship leader. So I was like, wow. So I'm glad that he took that stance and said that, because there are a lot of people that are looking for popularity, looking for validation, and are making decisions based on the awards that they will receive.
Yeah.
It's real. That's so real. Yeah. I agree with that. I think the verse that stood out to me when I heard about this was Daniel 5, 16 through 17. And it's just talking about how Daniel was offered, rewards for him being able to interpret. And he says, like, let your gifts be for yourself and give your rewards to another. He denies them. And that was after previously Nebuchadnezzar, gave him high honors and great gifts in the beginning when he initially interpreted the dream. But when I read that, previously, before we even had this topic, it just really gripped my heart, because I was just like, man, Daniel saw, like he saw, like he had access to the king, he had access to power, he had access to money, resources, all of these things, and he denied it when it was offered to him again. And to me, that was just a position of humility for him to say, like, for one, this is the Lord is speaking to me. I'm submitted to him, and I'm not going to be swayed by gifts because it doesn't actually matter. I'm just proclaiming the word of the Lord. And to Shania's point, I do think like a lot of times rewards or awards are such a high, and we have such a high ambition within the entertainment industry to be to receive accolades and to be validated. And it just checked me when I read this. I was like, man, like, Lord, help me, help my heart, And so perhaps that's just where he's at. I do think like with the Dove Awards, my thought of that was like, okay, well, if this is Christians, giving awards, then perhaps this is just a means of like edifying each other, like just being like, okay, like you did a good job, like continue to, as you said, Ryan, like run the race well, as you're continue to pursue these things. Right. But I get it. I mean, I think if our ambition is in the validation of others who are not even yielded to the Spirit of God, like you don't even have the same convictions, you're not serving the same, entity or person, then why am I looking to you to confirm the work? And I will just put a plug out there. Stephanie Gretzinger, I think, was on a podcast recently, and she made a comment about like just the issue with worship leaders desiring like awards. She's like, when the award is Jesus, like, but just the heart. So if you all want to go check that out, I would encourage it because I think the heart behind what she was saying was very good, and it's a helpful perspective.
In my mind, I've been breaking down what numbers mean. What numbers mean to non-believers, what numbers mean to Christians, what numbers, followers, subscribers, all those different things, right? And I think what it's meant to do is it's meant to puff up your platform and puff up your value, right? And so to me, I always pray about that because I'm always like, man, God, are we really trying to look at numbers as though we want more people to hear us so that more people can hear the salvation of the Lord, more people can hear about the gospel, the truth behind the gospel? Or are we looking for, someone to say, hey, let's put them in a category and give them an award, right? Because I think all it does is it brings more value, which brings more monetary value. And I think that's what I'm concerned about when I watch a lot of podcasts on YouTube, when I see a lot of people just making clips to drop clips. Like, I think a lot of people make a clip just to drop it because they know, oh, man, this is going to get like 100,000 views and that's a nice little check and da-da-da-da. And it doesn't necessarily bear fruit in its season. So I'm just a little worried about that because I don't want to be that person. I don't want us to turn into that, to where we're like, and we do a really good job of that. Sean does a really good job of us going like, hey, are we going to talk about this just because we know this could go viral, or are we going to stay away from it because we don't have all the facts? And 10 out of 10 times we've chosen to stay away from it when we don't have the facts. Now, when it becomes something where there's like, hey, no, there's actually, he's actually been arrested. Okay, we can talk about it now. You know what I'm saying? And so, to me, I don't want anyone to think that we're concerned about numbers to that degree, because it really is about whether or not people hear about the salvation of the Lord. We talk about our faith on this podcast every time we crack the mic. It's never been about us or what we have going on. It's been about what God is doing and what he continues to do. So I hope that that's the message that Forrest Frank is his fans give off, and the people that are giving comments about that. And it sounds to me like he's basically just saying, hey, God told me not to go. Can't argue with that.
Gotta respect that.
Can't argue.
So
with
let
that.
me ask you a question. Would y'all be y'all heard about the other Super Bowl halftime show, and they're looking for acts and stuff? Would y'all be okay if he went and did that?
Super Bowl halftime?
Yeah, he's an
No,
artist.
no, the other Super Bowl, the Turning Point
alternative.
the alternative Super Bowl.
Oh, Turning Point doing one?
Yeah, they doing it.
Wait, say that again. Is it a real
So-
Super
I
Bowl?
plead the fifth.
So Turning Point USA, the Charlie Kirk Foundation, they're doing their own version of the Super Bowl that's going to happen the same time as the Super Bowl for Bad Bunny.
Just
show.
halftime, but you keep saying Super Bowl, so I
No,
keep
no, the
thinking-
Super Bowl show, like the show, the halftime show. Yeah, the halftime show. And they're looking for artists and to perform. It's gonna be family friendly.
Where are they? If
I
it's
have
not
no comment on the ground.
if this is not a partnership,
Right.
If this is not a partnership within the NFL, then it doesn't make any sense because it's just going to be that I'm watching the football game and for 30 minutes I'm going to turn to the other channel.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
That's what it's
Bad
for.
Bunny.
Yeah.
It's
It's
an
a- it's a-
I
alternative.
don't
Yeah, it's
watch
an
the
alternative.
halftime show. Period. That's when I put my kids to bed. So, I'm in my mind, I'm like,
But it could be something where
Right.
It is.
it could be something where it's they're trying to make it family friendly. So they're trying to have family friendly artists. They're trying to have family friendly the way it looks and different things of that nature. So my only concern is who the artists, because I'm like, and I know Forrest Frank was like one of the people that was like, yo, we should do something more positive and stuff like that.
man, I just want to say in that point, is that too much? Is that too much? You're basically saying everybody stop watching the Super Bowl channel and turn to a different channel.
Like I said last
No,
week,
I don't
Living
think it's too
Color did that. Did it years ago.
but what I'm
I don't think it's too much.
but I mean,
Why they didn't do that with Kendrick though? That's my thing. Why the issue? Why this didn't come up with Kendrick? Why is it we have a Hispanic artist now? Everybody want to do a different show. That was the thing I was thinking about. So when Kendrick came, everybody was all they not like us and all. There was nobody talking about the alternative show. Christian rappers was supporting Kendrick. Everybody was following Kendrick.
so here's my thing.
Kendrick. Now all of a sudden, Bad Bunny. Now both of them talking about sin. Both of them talking about stuff outside the will of God. It ain't no different. He just doing it in Spanish.
so here's my
But
thing.
now we want to have alternative show. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's just me.
His message is a little more visceral than Kendrick.
Kendrick had a crown of
Well,
thorns on, acting like he was Jesus.
He did, but Bad Bunny is doing the transgender.
Sin.
That's really what it is.
Sin.
He's cross-dressing on stage. Like it's like a certain point, people don't want to. They don't want to see that on a national.
It's Spanish sin.
Yeah. They don't want to see that.
But you
sin.
know,
they
but
can see their sin, but not that sin.
But y'all know what's funny? I know a lot of churches watch the Super Bowl, and when the halftime show, they turn it off and they do their own game. So they do games or whatever
and that's
things.
fine, but because my thought is this, like, partner with the NFL for this, and I'm fine. Tell me that you're partnering with the NFL, that you're giving some. I mean, the NFL has a whole gospel celebration thing on Sundays.
But Jay-Z
Sunday
ain't
mornings.
over that. Jay-Z ain't over that.
I would say this is cool if this was something that Turning Point went to the UFL about, like a different network.
No, they just want. Listen,
My
Ryan,
point, you can't pick
got-
and choose sin, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
you can. But
Yeah.
I think the thing is this: if you have a celebration, like if your kids are there, let us be real. The Super Bowl is probably one of the biggest things in our nation where everybody watches.
Kendrick
The
destroyed
family,
man's career.
the family watches. So now that your family's watching, you know how many calls they get for the Super Bowl, like halftime show.
My kids don't watch the
regardless
Super
of
Bowl
who's
halftime
doing
show.
it, they get people always call about, hey, such and such, it was too much. They too raunchy. This. I think they were like, once they heard, like you said, Bad Bunny, they was like, oh no, we got to do something about
Janet
this.
Jackson, Rihanna, Madonna,
Beyonce, yeah.
like it's always
Yeah.
like it's sensual, it's provocative. Even last year, people want to say it was a political stance and stuff, which part of it was, but you just destroyed a man. You ruined a man's career. Like you took him down, you called him a pedophile in front of the whole country. You know, so with no kind of charges being pressed on this man for that, like you just ruined this man's reputation in front of everybody. Like and as Christians, everybody was cool with it. Now it's Bad Bunny. Like now it's Bad Bunny. Now we got to just take a stance against sin. It's been sin the whole time.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk.
It's just preferential.
Charlie Kirk said every Christian parent should be homeschooling their children if they have the means to do so, right? And if you're not, you're doing a disservice to your kid. In my mind, I'm thinking if that's what he said. If in my mind, I'm thinking if you don't want your kid to see the halftime show, don't let them see the halftime show. My kids don't watch the halftime show.
But here's the thing,
Nickelodeon got alternative.
But they still doing clips. They still gonna see clips. It's not like you can't shelter anything from your children.
And don't watch the game in that case. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
All
the
I'm
game
saying
is
is
just
weird.
football.
Yeah.
I think there's
This
nothing
is
wrong
weird.
with having
An
an alternative
Yeah, ain't no
because
wrong with
even
it.
though
it depends
Why
on
would
who's
it-
on it though. To me,
right, if it's good alternative, I don't mind watching the alternative because, like you said, sin is sin, but I will draw the line. The other stuff, like with Janet
Where you
Jackson,
draw the
Madonna,
line at?
with
Can you
with
get
Janet? Can I finish my
Go ahead,
sentence?
go ahead.
With Janet Jackson and Madonna and the rest of the stuff, they did stuff that was unplanned. That's not like, oh, we just came out and we about to pop a anyway. But like they didn't. That wasn't on the program on the schedule. They threw that stuff in there. So it's like now you're putting somebody on a platform that essentially when they choose an act for the Super Bowl, it's supposed to be what majority of America supports. And I still don't think majority of America supports this LGBT plus, this cross-dressing, you gonna be making out with men on stage and doing the most. We don't support that. I don't want to see that. I don't have kids, but if I did, I wouldn't want them to see it either. So if I could click over, just tell me what channel I'm supposed to be turning in on.
Well, so
probably
my thing
gonna be
is
a
this.
link.
So my thing is this.
Shoot me the link.
Can't you get sued for that?
She said shoot.
Like if you're calling it, are they calling it the Super Bowl halftime alternative? Or are they just saying at the time of the Super Bowl, turn to this channel?
Probably.
Okay, all right, it's different.
And I'm gonna say this too. I'm not a Bad Bunny fan, but I've seen he did like a residence in Puerto Rico, and I know people who went to the concert and stuff. That one time he did kiss the guy, which I do not agree with. Once again, he don't do that every show. Like, so I doubt very seriously at the Super Bowl he's gonna be kissing men and doing that kind of stuff. That was a political statement he was trying to make about people loving everybody, and I don't agree with all that. Like
And
I
you
said,
don't think he's gonna do that at the Super Bowl?
no, I don't think he's gonna do that. At
He
the
did
Super
that at a residency.
Well,
If
time
he
will
made a
tell.
political statement with that.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Interesting.
But
I'm not condoning them anyway. I think, like I said, it's
Right.
seeing all the way around. It's interesting to me now. People just
Yeah, the timing.
When they heard Bad Bunny, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, now we got to take a stance. It did come across kind of racist.
I think to that point,
I don't think it's against Spanish people. We've had Spanish people on the Super Bowl before.
Shakira did that. Didn't Shakira
Exactly,
do
Shakira
Puerto Rico.
and
J-Lo?
Jennifer Lopez.
Online though, it's been kind of racist. People talking about ICE gonna come pick him up. He's an American citizen. He's Puerto
yeah.
Rican. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People saying it's an ICE setup.
Puerto
and stuff.
Rico is America.
Puerto Rico is America. That's what I'm saying. It's
But
racist.
again, we cannot use ignorance to validate our points here. This is an ignorant person saying that.
But I think what James is
Ignorant
saying
people.
is perhaps maybe the concern is that a part of the intention of why this was initiated in the first place? Like, is that what the commentators are speaking to? Like what is the entirety of the motive behind why they're doing this? And what I was going to say to that is time will tell. If this is just a 1-year situation and then it goes back to what it was, like time will show.
Charlie Kirk just you got a lot of racial tension going on in our country right now. You got the whole thing going on with ICE. So, he's an American citizen. It's still like the Latin community. You got a lot of stuff going on right now. So when you put a Kendrick up on stage last year, it was stuff that was going on now. He got the American flag and doing all this kind of stuff out there. That was that in the midst of the tension. Then you got Bad Bunny, who's a Latin artist coming on in the midst of Latin people being oppressed and snatched out of their homes and doing all this kind of stuff. It's a lot going on at one time. You know what I'm saying? So it just comes across like it's some kind of racial undertone that's being presented.
But let me ask you a question, James. How much is it Jay-Z knows what to do? He's the person
He knows
behind
gonna
it.
make money.
No, but he also knows Jay-Z low-key is political. So he knows at the time, like, yo, well, using Kendrick, I don't really rock with Drake anyway. Yo, Kendrick, let's do the Super Bowl halftime show. Drake said he don't need me. Let me show him something. You get what I'm saying? He ain't no dude at home like, man, I wonder if Bad Bunny could do this halftime show because I think he's an incredible performer and his music is incredible. He looking at what's going on with ICE and go, I think we should give Bad Bunny a call.
It's just foul, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. It's just foul.
Yeah. So we did want to give some time to Aaliyah to talk about, just everything you have going on. Most notably, you have been recognized for season 5 of Love Is Blind. Talk about what that was that something?
No.
Oh, talk about what that experience was like for you.
The experience was a whirlwind, but it was really eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
I come from a interesting background when it comes to marriage, and I saw divorce growing up. So it was a big step for me to even go on the show and say, let me see if I could go find a husband on a reality show. I was never a reality TV viewer to even begin. So it was just a really big leap of faith for me at the time. But I really overall feel like it taught me a lot of lessons.
Okay.
Matured my outlook on marriage. And, one of the big reasons why I ended up leaving the show, because if you've watched that season, you know that I made an abrupt exit. One of the reasons I left was just because I did not feel at peace. I didn't feel like God wanted me to be there. And I prayed about that. I was for days wrestling with that and just, wasn't my first time, saying, hey, I don't feel good about this. I think I want to leave. So I prayed about it and God told me this isn't where your husband is.
Did you feel like, do you feel like that staff or that show group, they kind of use people and exploit them?
Yeah, I do. I didn't know we were going, but yeah, I do. I feel like there's a lot of exploitation going on in reality TV today. I think we can all agree to that. But I think a lot of time the casting process, we're not aware sort of what we're walking into either. So, a lot of us are just everyday working people, especially with Love is Blind. We're everyday working professionals coming onto this show trying to find a spouse.
And what was the commitment like for you? Like, was it 2 weeks? Was it how long did it take you to film?
I think I filmed for a total of 3 or 4 weeks, and then I think everyone else, their filming time was about 7 weeks.
Wow.
So it's really quick. It's really quick. And actually, one of the podcast episodes I've already filmed is with another Love is Blind castmate, and she was an obedient believer. I always say I was probably very lukewarm going on Love is Blind, and so but her experience was very tough being an obedient believer and woman of God trying to go on a show that we both had the perception was very wholesome, in comparison to other reality shows and dating shows. And just being like, I want a man of God. I want somebody who values, living by scripture and having this standard. Being in that environment where it's like alcohol is everywhere, and just worldly things are sort of being pushed at you. I think that was the first time that I felt conviction and just feeling like the Holy Spirit was nudging me, like especially now being more familiar with that and coming into covenant with God and having a relationship with God. And it's just, that was like looking back on it, I'm just like, man, God was nudging me from very early on to tell me, hey, this isn't it. This isn't it for you.
I always wondered why we don't get to see all the cast members in the pods. Like you see just a select group of people. Is it that everybody actually does get in the pods and it's filmed, and then they just decide to cut the film to the most like controversial, the most interesting?
It's everyone goes on all 15 plus dates a day.
What?
Everybody dates
15 a day?
Yeah, I went on.
You did that for 4 weeks?
Yeah, well, not you kind of cut back, you rate people, and then it's like, okay, well, now I'm down to 8, now I'm down to 5, now I'm down to 3, or however it goes. It's like speed dating, but
like a roster almost. Like you got your roster, then this person didn't check out, so let me get this.
Right.
But then isn't there a lot of drama when people like the same person? Because we see that on episodes.
Yeah, you do. And I think so my approach was very no pressure, because I didn't even think I was going to find a person or even connect with anybody. And I always joke and tell people, y'all, I went on the first 14 dates, and actually the male castmate that I connected with, he was my last date that first day, because I had already told him, like, well, he's not here for me, I guess I'm going home. But I ended up connecting with someone on the very last date, and it's a lot of it is centered on, wanting something that, sparks ratings, gets people talking, which one seems to have the strongest connection and the love connection in there. And I do believe that people find real love in there. I believe that there are a few couples who truly, genuinely love each other, but I think it's one of those things that if that's where God has assigned you to find your husband or wife, then you will. And if it's not, you're probably going to have a really tough experience. And so,
I do have a question about that wrestle, because I did watch that season as well, and I saw the abrupt exit, and I feel like the way they tried to spin it was like, sometimes we want a thing, and then when we get there and we're presented with it, we're scared, and then you left, and then there was a moment where you came back. So hearing now that you were saying it was the Holy Spirit convicting you, nudging you to make you leave, what made you come back and represent yourself to that young man?
So the way it was presented to me behind the scenes was have an opportunity to have a face-to-face interaction with this person and explain to him what your misunderstandings or even what your what your reservations were about getting engaged. And so I did it because I wanted to do the right thing by him. Like, you know, I did kind of just up and leave. Maybe I should have a conversation with him and let him know that it wasn't necessarily totally against him, but it sort of was, because you have to have trust when you get engaged. These are real engagements. These are real marriages. And then there's a contractual binding time limit that you have to be married to these people once you marry them on the show.
You know that.
It's a big decision to make in such a short time. You know what I mean? And so for me, I didn't feel comfortable with all those, you know, lies and different things that were told that weren't true to me, and him being deceitful. I was like, no, I don't feel comfortable to get engaged. And I wanted one and done. And thank the Lord, you know, that has come to pass for me. I have a man of God. I have a man who treats me well and has not, you know, planted any seeds that make me feel uncomfortable in the trust department. But I mean, I just think that people miss that. And I get it's reality TV edits and stuff. They got to make it entertaining. They got to make it juicy. But that was always the thing that didn't sit well with me, was like, okay, let's tell the whole story. You know, let's paint the full picture. You know, no one should jump into an engagement with someone they don't trust and who's been lying to them, ladies, gentlemen. You know,
they definitely cut all that out,
right?
Because in that lunch, it definitely was cut to the way where it was like you were trying to get back with him,
right?
So it was like,
and it was sound bites that actually he came out. Because I was kind of like, I don't want to speak to this too much, but he actually came out publicly on his Instagram. I think it's still there, saying that wasn't how our conversation went, and that they might have used some sound bites to kind of like reword our conversation, because we both were kind of, you know, upset about how they depicted our story. And I just think it just, you know, there was one public figure sort of person who does like reality TV commentary, Jessie Wu, and she's always talking about how this show does not do Black couples and Black women justice, how they kind of like twist our stories and stuff. And I don't know, because I haven't watched it since that season, my season. But, you know, I do feel like, you know, it would have been nice to have the opportunity to really explain that to the public. Like, hey, you know, we made some logical decisions. These are our real lives. These are real marriages. And, you know, for people who have a background of fear of failure, because I'll be honest, that was really one of my biggest fears. Like, I don't want to get a divorce. That's not not the dream that I see for my marriage story and my love story. And so, you know, that crack in the foundation just was enough for me to say, you know, this isn't it for me. And I believe God led me and ordered my steps, because I am in a godly marriage now. So,
what advice would you give to the ladies that are still looking, like your process from that to actually meeting your man of God?
Well, just don't dwell in that place of confusion. You know, I dealt with a lot of paranoia issues and mental health issues leaving that show, thinking like, man, I just can't trust anybody. You know, it's hard to really connect because you're in this environment where all you do is talk. And, you know, it kind of takes you back to when you're a teenager and you're on the phone all night with somebody, and those emotions are just so high. And, you know, but I just feel that people should give love a chance, you know, truly pray about the things that you're wrestling with. If it's trust issues, if it's fear of failure, fear of commitment, and then for women of God, if it's bending your standards. You know, a lot of us struggle with the purity piece, struggle with the, you know, really upholding, you know, your purity in dating. Just don't bend, because at the end of the day, you're bending on the standard of the person that you're going to marry. So stick to that, lean on the Lord during your dating phase, when you're meeting people and connecting with people, and just ask him about everything. I mean, ask God about everything when it comes to what you're doing, the decisions you're making, and who you're dating.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And so we can expect the Pure Talks podcast to come soon.
Yes, so actually October 24th, we officially put a date on it.
All right.
The first episode will drop then, and it'll be my full testimony starting off with a sister in Christ of mine who kind of leads me through the conversation of sharing my full story, which was really interesting. But, you know, obedience, going to do it because...
Be focused on you as an individual, you as a wife, and is it going to be couples
All the things. There each episode has a different guest, and we just discuss various topics, whether marriage, whether overcoming parental wounds, addictions, identity issues. Yeah, I mean, really good conversations. I'm so excited about it, y'all. God has just really been faithful, so I'm excited.
Me and Jeremiah, our wives have a podcast. I think you'd be great to share your testimony with them as well.
Perfect.
And then also kind of get. Hopefully, they have some space where they can get you on before your launch. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah. We'll connect you with that. Well, man, thank you guys for sticking it out with the Track Stars today. We are going to move over to Patreon.
1 second, Ryan, before you go. I do want to share, being that you did mention that, our ladies of Track Stars, they actually sat down with Becoming Eva, and their episode aired this morning.
They
So,
sure did.
ladies, y'all want to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about that. How was that for you guys?
How was it?
What women want, right?
Part 2.
Yes.
Part 2.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. We were able to kind of just share our perspectives and also just gain some wisdom from, women who are married. And so it was a wonderful discussion. So y'all go check it out and let us know what you think.
See, now I'm worried because you say women that were married, and I know my wife is that woman. So now I'm
correct. It was wisdom.
Well.
It was gems.
You were like, hey, man, okay, Ryan, man of God.
Oh, okay.
Husband that stamped his family.
Yes, she was bragging about it. She was bragging.
Very good. Very, very good. We definitely got really deep. We got really personal. But it was a lot of fun. So even though we're talking about what women want, which was, I was telling Miracle, incredibly refreshing, because I feel like a lot of the conversations are, what do men want? And it's always so like desperately charged.
Man, y'all gonna make me listen on the ride home. I usually don't listen until I get the chance to edit because I'm on the drive up here for Track Stars when they're on live. But I'm gonna listen on the ride home because I'm interested.
Right. I definitely think there was some good conversation points that both men and women can benefit from.
Yeah. And so we did what men want last week with them.
Playing James.
DJ Jeremiah playing James, the focal point of the room playing James. Because I think it should have been called I think it should have been called What Men Wanted. In my case, you know what I'm saying? Because that want is more present day, and I'm like, I'm good. I got what I wanted. So.
Amen.
Period.
God bless you, man.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So you guys.
Also, my last plug, man. I wanna plug our TikTok page. You know, I know numbers aren't everything, but however, we want to reach these people on TikTok as well. So you guys, please subscribe to our TikTok page, so that way we can broadcast live on TikTok as well.
And before we go, Leah, do you have any social media links that you can give them?
Yes, my personal social media is at AALOVE4_, and then there is Pure Talks Bible, which is on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay. Awesome. Well, feel free to stick around for our Patreon. Our Patreon is like we kind of call After Dark because it's like no filters. We just kind of just go wild with
Track Stars Uncut.
Track Stars Uncut, yeah. So feel free to stick around for that. But thank you guys again. Y'all keep praying for Sean. He's doing better. I get the chance to talk to him a couple of times a week, and he's in good spirits. Amen. And he's really helped out with the show today. So keep praying for him, and we will see you next week. You're in the field with the Track Stars: Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
The window opening is still hot.
Yeah.
It's cold outside. It is. Bro, you act too?